Not in this room, I guess.
Oh.
All right, well, we're back, baby. Episode 86 of The Last of Us. Not of The Last of Us, of My Cup of Tea. Discussing The Last of Us, episode 2, of which now Carson will be joining us. He just saw the first couple episodes. Carson, what are you doing?
It's a lot of emotions, Bob, to go through episode 1 and then go through episode 2. Especially because I knew it was coming with the daughter in the first episode, because I have gotten that far in that game, surprisingly, because it's literally the first fucking thing. But what I want to ask is, was there some extended sequences in there? Because I remember it moving faster in the game, like, because when she's at like the neighbor's house or whatever, like all of that stuff.
It kicks off like the night of giving the watch. Like that's the first.
Right.
Scene.
Yeah. So I was like, because it was just like building tension. So I'm glad they added that stuff. And especially when you see the old lady just twitching in the background, that freaks the fuck out.
That was wild. I loved that.
Yeah, and then the dog, and then the dog's whining at her. I'm like, no. And then just the whole thing is so stressful. It was really like the Quiet Place Part 2 effect at the baseball game for like 30 minutes, and I was just like,
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I'm just sitting there, like I know, like, okay, we're gonna go here, we're gonna go here, we're gonna go here, but I'm just sitting there boiling over that whole time, and I'm so stressed. But overall, episode 1 I thought was a phenomenal pilot. Really brings you into the world, and it's again so heartbreaking. And then, fuck yeah, the end, the waking up the 20 years later and everything. Because it really has like it's like the double pilot thing you talk about, like when House of Dragon came out. It's like, oh, new pilot this week because it's like 8-year time.
Yeah.
But this is really because we go from like world in chaos, apocalypse, and then it's like, holy shit, 20 years, military dictatorship, quarantine zone. Like,
yeah,
we only can speak through radios. The other cities we can't leave. And I was like, and so I think it plays the first episode and the second episode have a huge advantage of like kind of letting us imagine what happens in between that time, especially people like who don't know specifically the games or the characters already. And I really like that between Tess and Joel, like, and especially we'll talk about building up to Tess's thing here, but like,
yeah,
the whole idea of like, Ellie being this sort of like redemption for both of them in different ways, I think is obviously a big theme.
Yeah, that was interesting. That was something I never really took to heart in terms of like, I mean, I always knew Ellie was kind of like the light for Joel, but for Ellie to be like a piece of redemption for Tess as well was pretty interesting.
Yeah, did you watch the end behind the scenes thing?
Yeah, I watched behind the scenes and I listened to those
because Craig because he was talking about the writing, and he was like, it was interesting because we got to add a little bit more to Tess, and then also like let her have like a light bulb moment where when she sees like that Ellie's bite mark isn't getting worse, like she like, I think there's a good line in there of like, just believe the fucking evidence, Joel. Like,
yeah.
And I was like, and so she's like all of a sudden motivated and not so jaded about the world and like wanting to like, go beyond the selfishness for instances there, which I thought was really cool.
It's like a spark of hope for Tess.
Yeah.
And it was something very interesting that I didn't even think about. I mean, I've always thought about Tess as somebody who's very hard. Like in their initial relationship, Tess and Joel are very both like hardened criminals. I don't want to say criminals because everybody's doing what they have to do to survive, but they're very hardened. They did a lot of bad stuff in the past, presumably. I never really took to heart like Tess's relationship to Ellie. It was always about Joel.
They're just like methodical. Like they're just so used to their ways. Like, oh, we've done this 1,000 times. Like we're gonna go do this and get what we want. Blah blah blah.
They're very careful. They're good survivors. But in general, yeah, I loved episode 2. I thought it was fantastic. 2 just incredible episodes out the gate. And especially like, it's not a type of thing where I'm watching it week to week and I'm just like, oh, that's just like the game. But it's like, I'm doing that, and I'm enjoying a lot of the little additions as well. There's a lot of good character moments that we just don't see in the game that are just adding so much to the characters and the theme of the show.
Yeah.
In terms of love and redemption.
Yeah, I got that too, because it was like, part of me was like trying to like match up, certain. I'm like, oh, like that's that angle when you like, like you get into like that set piece, and you're like, oh, we're here. But then they like get into like the meat of the scene, and I was like, damn, like even the scene this week of, just Ellie when Tessa goes up over the rocks and she's trying. It
felt very game-like, where it's like, I'll find another way around.
Yeah,
we got to that one scene where like the scaffolding fell and closed the entrance, and I was like, it is a game. We can't go back.
I know, right? Like area closed off. Like I can't hit X and go over the fucking thing. And then but they get that sweet conversation. He's like, "Where'd you learn how to do that? Circus."
That's funny as hell. Awful.
And then she brings up the school, and then she's like, then she asks like, how long do infected live? And Joel goes, I thought you went to school. And she goes, a shitty one.
It was amazing.
Like, she has been selling the humor so well.
She's really good. But I want to talk about, so the first 2 episodes were introduced to these amazing prologues that were not.
Oh my god!
To the game.
Yes, we had to talk about it.
First off, Carson, what do you think of the first episode's prologue with I think his name is John Hammond from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., The Mummy, of course.
John Hammond from Jurassic Park. That's his name.
It's John something. I'm pretty sure.
Jonathan from The Mummy.
Jonathan. Maybe that's whatever. What do you think of the first scene from last episode 1 there?
Of course, people were posting this shit all over Twitter. So like, I wasn't. I knew it was the first scene, and I knew it was like an interview with doctors, but that's all I knew. But and then I saw the filmmaking of it in context, and holy shit, when it cuts to like the frozen audience members, and it's like they sort of are like, it's like zombies on ice, kind of. It's like they're just frozen. You're like, the masses are starting to become this, and it's so creepy. And then he's going in the whole speech, and then I think it ends with like, and we'll lose. And even the host like has no comedic comeback at that point. He's like, well, fuck.
Cut to commercial. Cut to commercial. Yeah.
Yeah. So that immediately hooked me because, I was like, well, and I mean, especially it's so creepy watching this show like post in a world where we had COVID and everything, and it's just like, it freaks me out. But I think I even like the second episode's cold open even better, because we go back to where it started. Yeah, and it's a very simple scene. It's a very simple scene. They bring her in. She looks at it. She's like, "This is what do you mean? Look at this sample. Like, this isn't the right thing. Like, I don't know what you're talking. Like, this can't." And they're like, "No, we got it off a human." She's like, "What?" And then they bring her back to like the second secure area because they have her deep in the hospital. But the best bit of this scene is where it's just her on the couch with the teacup, and the guy's talking to her, and she's sort of trying to like process it all, and the camera is just slowly moving in on her, and it's so terrifying when she starts to process all the information. First she learns that, what was it, the flower plant or whatever, and then we're like, oh fuck, like
I think she called it the orthocordyceps. I think, but in general, it's a cordyceps, which was teased by Dr. Newman, I guess, in the first scene, episode 1, where he's like, he's listing through all these possible diseases.
Right, and he's like, if the world warmed up over time, a general amount.
Yeah. They're like, hey-o.
So I picked up some interesting factoids about both openings. One of which being apparently setting the cold open, the second cold open in 2003 was actually like a record, like huge heat wave of a year.
Interesting.
Like in our real life.
Yeah, I meant to ask about this up top. What in the game, it takes place a different
2013
time?
2013. Yeah.
2013. Okay. And so they set it in. Oh, they set it in 2003, so the 20-year gap could be in present day. That's why they did it, right?
Bingo bongo.
So
Yeah.
Wasn't it only 10 years in? Was it 20 years in the game?
It was 20 years in the game.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they're set in 2033.
Oh my god, that's not a real year.
That'll never happen in 10 years.
I will have seen the entire Avatar saga by then.
Oh god.
Take my kid to Avatar 5.
Oh boy.
No, but another interesting tidbit we learned in this second one that one of the earliest people they found who was spreading the disease worked at the flour mill in Jakarta.
Oh, you want to get into this theory? Oh boy.
I don't think it's a theory. I think it's just like it is
Flour?
in the first episode. Yeah,
how
flour.
the fuck did it spread?
But nobody's officially said it though. That's why it's still a theory.
Sure, that's true. But here I say it. Basically, if the person was working at the flour mill and that's like, worldwide distribution, then different products that require flour have a higher chance of spreading it even more so to the higher population. And in the first episode, there's many instances where Joel and his family like narrowly avoid eating stuff with flour, whether it's like they were out of pancakes, Joel forgot to get the cake in the evening, even like the neighbor when they're like feeding the old lady, the cookies, or even like the biscuits that she's feeding.
Holy fuck, that's 4
could
times.
Have been, yeah, could have been like the real kickoff for her that day to infect her. So that is an interesting detail, man.
Yeah.
Well, not to mention they also say that 14 employees are still missing.
Bingo. Yeah, that's crazy.
And so like she realizes that it's beyond stopping. Terrifying line of like bomb this whole place, and then follow that up later in the episode. We get to see just holes in the pavement from when they did try to bomb places, which was
Evan, I don't know if you were able to listen to the podcast for episode 2. They bring up a specific thing that like when she brings up the whole idea of like bombing, to just like ultimately to like drive home that there is no hope and no saving this. But also she has like a moment of self-reflection. Not only is her time with her family limited, but also even if she wanted to go back on that, like the genie's out of the bottle. She can't take that idea back.
No, yeah, that idea is going to spread. I mean, and it's a pretty self-preserving idea. And watch any survival movie. Hell, we just watched Alien versus Predator 2. Requiem.
Yeah, what the fuck?
And their first idea, of course, is to bomb the city. Like it's very much self-preservation. The first thing you can think of if you're in the government or in a position of authority is like to quickly decimate a population.
Well, and that's got to be one of the core themes of this whole thing is it's not just that the disease spread, it's the ideas that spread after that created also such an endangered and military police state society that yes, they have to live in these quarantine zones, stay alive, but the police have all the power. Like, it's all these different. We have the Firefly group, sort of like as these resistors and doing all this, doing all these things. It's like, look how all those ideas spread, and it's humanity never really got back to where it was.
Not at all. Like, there's pockets of civilization, but yeah, Fedra has taken like a big control over different sections of the country. It's not going to be Fedra everywhere. Like, Fedra isn't like the end all be all, as we learn in like Last of Us Part 2. No spoilers, but just like there's a different government group in charge of different areas of different cities. So it's like, but in general,
because there's no unity.
There's no unity. But in general, there's like this big overarching. Fedra can be synonymous with like the U.S. government.
Totally.
But yeah, even the U.S. government can't be everywhere. But yeah, it's all about like these human thoughts, these human errors that go into like all the chaos that is coming about. Like even for Joel, like all these human errors, human mistakes that people just like do. That's what makes the show so relatable and so like.
Or even
raw.
just like an individualist perspective versus like a group
big
perspective.
Time.
Like everybody's sheltered inside of themselves. Everyone has to be very selfish in their survival. So that plays out specifically of like,
they're
all of that for a car battery. We're going all like,
We need the
and
battery.
then all of a sudden, all these other implications are happening.
Yeah, it's very key to like Joel's character and other characters. Like Joel and Tess are very individualistic. Like they wouldn't do their shit. Like Joel wants to do it to get to Tommy, but Joel and
she
Tess
straight up tells Ellie that. Yeah. In the second episode, she goes, "I'm going to speak to you like an adult. We are not good people."
No.
So,
which is great. You know, I love that admission from Tess, where it's just like we're not good people. Like I'm so happy the show is like clearly saying this to the audience and to Ellie in a sense. Like these aren't great people, but it's hard to judge who's good and who's bad in this world. Because all it takes, like, you know, in Star Wars, all it takes is a single action for somebody to be good in somebody else's eyes. So it's like you never really know, like, until.
Ooh, yeah. And then another good line is, I mean, this is sort of Tess's evolution over the episode. But there's another line later when they're looking up over the balcony where she sees in the streets, like the horde for the first time is sort of like expanded because more people have been trying to go to the quarantine zone, and there's like more of that horde outside versus just in the buildings. And she goes, you know, I think she goes like, you may not die from them, but you can still get mauled by them. Like you're still, like, you still need to know how to survive. You may be immune, but you need to know how to survive.
Not everyone's going to be like, fast forward to the end of the episode, not everyone's going to be like giving a kiss to Tess. Like they're going to be mauling you. Like clickers are just going to tear you to shreds. So
I mean, look at the guy we find in the museum. Look at the guy we found in the museum at the beginning.
Yeah, he was torn to shreds. Like his face had been ripped off a little bit. His chest has been opened up. Like these clickers are savages, and that's just like all we've seen so far in this show are two variations of the disease, like the clickers and the runners. There's a lot more to come that are a lot more vicious and a lot more disgusting and a lot more intuitive. So it's very scary. This world is brutal. Like this is like the one zombie outbreak that you did not want to be a part of. Like Walking Dead's fine.
This episode like kicks off the adventure like feeling of it. Like I felt like I was roaming this episode. Like we got all the drama we needed to catch up to and then we started the adventure this episode.
I also, like, since you brought it up, I want to get into like the disease. And at the beginning of the episode, when she's looking inside of, I guess, like patient Z or whatever, just her picking out that piece of the cordyceps and seeing it move was frightening. I'm like, oh shit, this is crazy.
Yeah, it's like it's alive. It's
still alive. It's alive. It was very like, again, this is all new to me. So I'm watching this like, oh shit, like this is disgusting. Yeah.
At first, we thought Kelly and I thought we were gonna get jump scared and she was gonna sit right up and start like doing something.
I was ready. Nothing.
But I think the way they did it was even creepier because then she drops it and she's shaking and I'm like, oh shit, like, and even when she's shaking with the tea, I'm like, did something get in the suit? Like, I'm freaking out the whole time. So there's like that added layer of stress.
Yeah, I love that added, like, just like giving her tea. So like when she's getting the info more and more, her hands start to shake and you hear the clinking of the glasses and sets it down.
And Neil directed this episode, right? Or did he direct the pilot? I can't remember.
Directorial debut for Neil Druckmann. Yeah,
which pretty phenomenal stuff.
Good shit.
I'd also like to say that this episode, I watched it with headphones in. This is amazing sound design. Like there, you know that scene Evan was bringing up when like, or maybe I read in chat you brought it up when Joel's like reloading the gun and the clicker's like coming up.
Yeah.
I heard the clicker approach on the left side in my ear, and like as it got closer, and I was like, "Oh god, I'm in the game!"
That's so terrifying.
I gotta rewatch the episodes with headphones on now. I'm sure it has good sound editing. Because that scene in general, I was just like, "Oh, I could see it. I could see myself playing this."
It
level.
was so awesome because I specifically remember that level in the game, and like it has that sort of like overhead, you know, feel to it. And to be like up close and like have like our view like obscured, like made it more scary. And I was like, oh, this is a way that you know, film, TV can use the medium to its advantage where the game, you know, couldn't in a way.
Oh yeah, exactly. I want to cut back to at the beginning of the episode after the incredible prologue. Because like the prologue is telling us like is doom and gloom. There's no other hope. Bomb this city, and it's like, oh shit, like there's no hope for this world. But then the very next scene, we get this beautiful shot of Ellie surrounded by light on this field of grass.
Everything else is dead around her, but the grass is alive and she's alive, and it's like
butterfly goes by.
Yeah, butterfly goes by. I was like, oh my.
Symbol of rebirth, baby.
And exactly, it's like
New
this
beginnings.
Is you cut from there's no hope, bomb the shit, this is awful, to like the only hope in the world in Ellie. I just loved that symbolism. She's like, this is our light. This is our way to save everyone. If she makes it to where they need to go, then maybe there's hope in this world. Maybe.
Hope she makes it.
Hope she makes it. But yeah, it was amazing to see her.
You'll never know.
The world may never know. But yeah, it was great seeing Ellie in this like first spotlight. Cause yeah, Carson mentioned it, but Bella has just been incredible as Ellie, and I love seeing her wake up and she turns around and they have like guns pointed at her. Like they've been taking shifts at night just waiting for her to wake up. It was great.
And she's like, "Can I pee? Like, leave me alone." And then the cut where she's eating a chicken sandwich and they're eating just like bark. Like
she can eat the flour.
Yeah. It was gross. I'm like, yeah.
And why can't everybody... like, can I have a gun? Oh, Pedro's delivery of absolutely not. Absolutely not. She's like, fine, I'll just hit him with the sandwich, dude. Like,
get this person a shield.
Literally,
get this girl a gun. We got so lucky with this casting.
Yeah, we really did. I just love her so much. But yeah, this part of the episode, we mentioned it up top, is very interesting because it's been 24 hours since the reveal, since Joel brutally killed that guy in self-defense and in pure anger. And Ellie has not been turned yet. And Joel was like looking at this, like he's still in disbelief. He's still in disbelief mode. But I love listening to the podcast because Craig mentioned it. Like at this point, Tess is sold. Tess is sold on the idea that like, okay, she can probably fix us. But Joel is immediately like still in denial. He's like, it might just be, I don't know what he says in the episode now, but he's like, it could be like late acting or whatever, or whatever.
Yeah, no, she literally gets bit again. She's like, he's like, oh, this is good. We're done for now. Like, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, he's still.
It was a fluke. Like
later on, he still says it's a fluke. So I'm just like, he's always going to be in disbelief for a while now. Even though this episode was the first time he like when she did get bit, like he's still in denial. But I think in the back of his head, he's like, oh shit, Tess might be right, and that might be why he's truly angry. But we'll get to that in a minute.
And he gets so spiteful in the beginning too, just saying like, why are you treating this like she has a life ahead of her? It's like, oh my god, please, man.
Yeah, that was a great line. It's like he thinks of her just like as, cargo. She has no life ahead of her. She's just part of the mission. We're gonna drop her off at the Fireflies. This is gonna be a quick and easy mission. But I love the idea that Tess is immediately sold on it. Like Tess is a hardened survivor, just like Joel. But at the back of Tess's mind, unlike Joel, where Joel has kind of like closed off his empathy in a way to the world, he's so easy to just put a kid in the fire in episode 1. I think while Tess is also probably able to do that same thing, I think Tess also has a bit of hope and a bit of
she still has it deep down, and it's ultimately Tess's sort of turn of heart in this episode that gives us the emotional build off at the end of of the amazing line where I think she says, "Save who you can save," and I thought that was right before they run away. I think she goes, Joel. She says, "Joel, save who you can save."
Ooh, that's a great line. Yeah. It's so unique because, like again, Tess and Joel are both parents. And I want to get into like a super fascinating thing I heard in the podcast where, so like I said, Tess is immediately on board with Ellie. She did not turn over the night, and before they head on the mission, I think Tess is thinking like, this could be my redemption / this could be our redemption. And Tess is a mother, just like Joel's a father. And apparently Neil wrote this whole story about how Tess killed her husband who had turned, but did not kill her son who had also turned. Instead, she locked her son up in the basement. And they were earlier drafts of this episode this episode was that Tess was going to wake up Tess is going to be in a dream where you hear like this loud banging noise with this loud banging door. And as she gets closer to it, you can hear the scratches and the noise getting louder. And then later on in the episode, it would have been revealed that banging came from Tess's son, who she had locked up and was unwilling to kill, unlike her husband. And this device is incredible because like this is a Chainsaw Man reference. I don't know if Neil have ever seen Chainsaw Man, but that motif is an eventual plot point in Chainsaw Man. I'm like, this is incredible, minus the whole chained up son part. But it was just very unique. I would have loved to see this in live action. Just like the idea that there's something in your subconscious that is locked up and you are afraid to get even close to it. I think that's what Neil was trying to portray there, where it's like this is a locked up part of Tess's life that she does not want to open up ever again. And I think that's the same way in connection to episode 2 with Joel, where like Sarah is like this locked up part of Joel's life. He doesn't want to get anywhere close to it. That's why he wants, even though he has these parental
situationally, he gets close to it because I love the cut that they do when he starts beating up the guy. It cuts back to that same flashlight that he sees when the soldier approaches him and Sarah in episode 1. It does that same cut, and he he gets too close. It gets too close to his heart, and he gets angry.
He does not want to get like too close to the moment or too close to his heart. Or else, and I think a great way that Craig described this show in general in the game is that they're challenging the concept of love, which is so fascinating to me because I told Nathan this last week, but one of the main reasons I love like a lot of fantasy and Star Wars, and I still love Willow, like love is the center of it all. Like love is the cure for all things. In Star Wars, that's definitely the case, and Willow is definitely the case. It's a big George Lucas thing. But in this show, like they're challenging that concept, like where love is the center of it all. Love is the core theme of the show and the game of the world, but they're challenging that concept because love can lead to great things, beautiful things, as we'll see later on in this series. But love can also lead to like anger and violence. What are you willing to do to protect those that you love? What are you willing to do to save the world and stuff like that? So it's very interesting how that idea.
I saw you guys. I can't remember where I saw it, but I don't know the specifics of Ellie's arc later on. But you guys were saying, or somebody was saying, that when Ellie sees Joel protect her for the first time, and she's like,
activated,
sort of witnessing
activated. I love that word. It's so fascinating.
Winter Soldier, motherfucker.
Homecoming.
And I think Bella played that moment really interesting. Really interesting performance there.
I agree.
I can't wait to see how Ellie changes.
Oh, me too. That's gonna be curious. But like, I do. But seeing Ellie be activated in that scene, we mentioned it last week in the podcast. We spent a couple minutes on it, but like Bella's performance there, where her eyes widen because she likes seeing this guy that she hardly knows protect her in a way and commit this act of violence in her name, in a sense.
She asked about it this episode too before getting cut off.
For what?
She asked about
she goes, what about that guy last night?
This guy.
And Joel's like, nope, next question.
Not even. Tess comes in, cuts him off.
Yeah. I think, again, it's that locked up part of himself where he's like, oh shit, that actually did happen. Because I think part of Joel's like, fuck, that happened. I don't even know if he really remembers what happened because he was so in his emotions and his feels. But yeah, Ellie, she liked it. She liked seeing that violence. But then at the same time, it's not conflicting with the way I see Ellie in later on in this show in part 1. But I'm very curious because while she revels in that act of violence that Joel did, if she were to commit such an act of violence, how would she react? I think it's two very different things. So I'm very curious to see how the show portrays that. But I just love this early dynamic between Joel and Ellie, where Ellie is brushing up against Joel's emotions and Joel is still remaining very much so closed off. So we go from chicken sandwich scene. They end that. They walk out, and then we get this beautiful shot of downtown Boston. And I love the show explaining how, if this was normal, we could have walked straight down the street and be there in 10, 15 minutes. But this is the road to The Last of Us, and Tess is like, there's a short way and there's a long way. The short way is, of course, the 90% we're going to get killed way, or there's a long way. So, of course, they go the long way. But yeah, on the way there, I just think the production design on the show is phenomenal. Like, it looks gorgeous. Those towering buildings that are falling on top of each other look so real.
We lost a mission in this episode.
Which one?
The one where they're like climbing from one building to the other. Into
the tower. Yeah. This one was interesting because they don't actually go into those collapsed towers, unlike in the game we actually kind of do in a way.
Yeah. Which I'm fine with. Yeah.
Oh, why didn't they go into the tower? No.
Well, I just remember running around in a circle with this one clicker that.
Oh my god, I hate that.
What?
It is so scary. I don't know where it is. It's somewhere in the.
It was like
you had to run in a circle.
I think that's the first encounter. Around the first encounter, there's like this we're in this complex with no roof, like still with the searchlights going around at night. And there's a clicker going around, and they fucking chasing me all around these doors. I don't have enough ammo. I think that's when you're trying to build like one of your first weapons.
Yeah, it is. You're trying to build the
come on, expert man.
Shank,
I can't. Is this one like there's other runners in the area as well, or is it just a clicker?
It may have just been a runner, not a clicker. Or both. I don't know.
I think the first clicker you run into is like when they're surrounded by like 4 or 5, and Joel's like, "I'll handle it alone." And
I think yes.
Tess and Ellie are like, "Hold up."
I was definitely alone.
Yeah. Yeah, that level is pretty annoying because you have to kill everybody in that room. I'm like, I don't want to kill all. I don't want to waste my ammo, but yeah. Regardless,
tell me that at the end of the game. Anyway,
now I know which areas to kill and which areas not to kill.
Motherfucker, you brought a flamethrower, didn't you not?
Yeah. I wonder if Joel was going to get a flamethrower in this series. I really hope so. Probably not. It's kind of impractical.
You never know.
Unless, like, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Yeah. 14 Fist of McCluskey.
But yeah, so yeah, we get to the highway scene, and I thought this was a really cool moment. It felt very much like a video game where you're strolling along, insert small talk, and yeah, Joel and Ellie are talking, and then I think this is when Tess asked about so how's your life? Like, why'd you go into the mall in the first place? Do you have anybody like you cared for, a boyfriend or whatever? She's like, no. Which is very funny. Because yeah, Ellie did not have a boyfriend at this point of the game. But yeah, and then at the end of this highway sequence, we get like the wall of, not wall, but just like a horde of clickers that they look down upon. And this was super.
That's new.
Was this after the highway sequence, or did that skip anything?
Yeah, I think they come up to the building and there's no like clear path, or what am I thinking?
Yeah, this
before
is
the museum.
Yeah, it's before the museum. They're talking about long way or short way.
Right.
And she goes, "Well, we're obviously not going that way."
Right. Okay. So yeah, but we get to like look at the over balcony, and we see.
Oh, is this before the hotel?
Yeah, because it has. I think so. Yes, because it has to set up the.
Yeah, you're right.
Build up. Even though the build up was at the globe, you get it.
Yeah.
Comments or HBO Max.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, I skipped it over a little bit, but like during the highway sequence, she did mention the shopping mall, which we saw in the trailers.
Right. By the Left Behind.
Left Behind moments, a little bit of flashback.
Of course, you didn't play Left Behind, right?
What is Left Behind?
It's all right, there we go.
It's a DLC for Ellie. For later on in the game.
Yeah, a little more for part 1, yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, because she said like, how are you even able to get bit in the first place? Yeah, I went to a shopping mall that was closed down. I wasn't supposed to go there. And then yeah, she said she was with her friend, and then that's when they unfortunately got bit. But yeah. So yeah, this whole scene of just Tess explaining like the whole the way the fungi operate was very weird and gross and new and revelatory for me, because I'm like, this is something I had not, this is not a concept that's in the game. The game is all about just like the spores and everything. But this one, people were always like, oh, there's no spores in the game. Oh my gosh. Spores in the TV show. Like, how are they going to explain everything? But I thought this was super fascinating. Like in the podcast, Craig talked about how it's kind of like the wood wide web, in the sense that like the fungi in the woods are able to like communicate. If you step on a fungi here, then
one
like
area,
20 feet away,
transmits.
Exactly, it transmits in a sense data. It transmits that electromagnetic energy.
It's a hive mind.
It's a hive mind in a sense. So this makes it a lot more dangerous. Like I paused it because I'm like, if this was in the game, I'd be fucked. Because like, there's no way
Mission's never ending.
It's never gonna end. I'm always gonna die because I'm never careful what I step on when I'm running for my life. Like I'm sorry I stepped on a twig that's connected to this fungus.
I'd be running into shit, jumping
over.
Like,
now I lose 30 bullets, 5 shivs. God damn.
It's ridiculous. 5 shivs. That's a lot. No.
A lot of horde.
Yeah, so it was very cool, very interesting. I did not expect this. I didn't expect it to be explained this way, but it was very cool. I mean, I really like it. Like, they're all connected in a way, and it made sense given the end of the episode, how it just creates a lot more terror and a lot more intensity in the show already. The show is already tense and dreadful, and you don't know what's going to happen in every scene.
Someone had a great tweet saying, very unrealistic of The Last of Us to not have Pedro Pascal checking 5 times for the duct tape he doesn't have to make a shiv.
Yeah, I mean,
what does it do in the game? It's like, it's like it's just...
Evan, I just found out apparently, because I never play high difficulties in games. If you play on like the higher ones, the clickers will hear you opening your inventory, your backpack. When you check.
Fuck that.
That's bullshit.
Are you sure?
That's never happened to me.
Are you sure?
Open your inventory?
Well, if you're well, I mean,
but like
the sound of opening your backpack, like
there's plenty of times where I'm like running from a stalker or
maybe it's like if you're in
a clicker.
Proximity.
If I run from a clicker and I open my bag, create a Molotov, they can't hear that. Zero. That would break the game.
You use it immediately? I don't know.
I hold on to it. For example, even when there's a bloater, there's times where you can just like create shit before it hears you.
Carson, have you run into bloaters yet?
He hasn't.
Yeah, wasn't there one in the gym?
Oh, you passed that part. You're right, Billstown. Yeah.
Yeah.
In the basketball gym.
In the basketball court. Yeah.
Yeah.
I beat that one.
The bloater like slam dunks on you is pretty brutal.
Yeah.
I think Ellie brings up the concept of a bloater like walking on.
Oh, you're right. Oh, on the highway, they talk about different.
Yeah, and then Joel and Tess look at each other like.
Fucking hope not.
Yeah, I think they said like, what are the different phases of the disease? And she rats off a couple of like the runners, clickers, but like if
spitting toxins.
If it sticks with you for a long time, you either die or there are people who have survived for 20 years and have been infected. Those people are bloaters at this point. Bloaters, or in Last of Us Part 2, no spoilers, but there's like a thing called what's it called? The exploders, the ones that like gaseous energy just like comes out of them. It's like, they are far from human at this point.
I completely forgot about the goddamn Rat King in the second game.
There's no explanation for that. I mean, that's just fucked. It's just fucked.
Oh god,
I think. Yeah,
I forgot it even existed, and I saw a clip today. I was like, "Oh god, my nightmares."
I can only explain that given the location of where the Rat King is, but
I really hope that's in part 2. It's probably like a season 3.
I think it's a hospital thing, but I think a lot of part 2 is going to be season 3. I think a lot of season 2 is going to be those in between years. But anyways, they make their way to a flooded hotel lobby where Ellie reveals she can't swim. This is very much like the game.
Wonder if that's gonna come back later.
If we have to grab the goddamn pallet.
I thought he was going to for a second.
I fucking hate that level. I can't swim, and she keeps repeating the damn line because it like if you like go back enough,
you go too far.
Yeah.
Joel, come back. Like, fuck. But yeah, like that really weird like brown paddle in the water that Ellie has to like climb onto.
Is that right after the Capitol? I'm like pretty sure you run out the Capitol and you run down the stairs.
Because the Fedra's chasing you, run into like the subway tunnels underneath Boston, and you killed 2 of the Fedra officers, and there's no more enemies.
We're gonna get the subway car.
It's too late now. We skipped past it.
Oh, did we?
I think after the Capitol building explodes in this sense, because Fedra's not chasing them, there's no need to go into the subway tunnel. So we're just gonna skip to Bill and Frank.
This next episode.
We're going to Pawnee Parks and Recreation. No, I'm kidding.
Pawnee, holy shit.
But yeah, they make a hotel lobby. One of my favorite parts of the episode is when she's like, "I can't swim," and Joel's like, he does a little hop in the water. It's like, come on, not that deep.
It's not that deep.
Yeah, the chemistry between them is so fucking funny. It's like,
it was amazing. And then she immediately gets fascinated by like the hotel lobby and the reception desk. She's like, "Oh yeah."
Tessa's like, this is a little out of our price range or something.
Yeah.
Funny.
Joel's just like, "You're a weird fucking kid."
You're a weird kid. You're a weird fucking kid. It was very cute. But yeah, this is straight from the game too, where eventually in part 1 they come across a hotel again, and well, in the episode 2 they come across a hotel which wasn't in part 1 of the game at this point. But anyways, this is straight dialogue from the game where she's like, "Oh yeah, can you take my bag, sir, please? Oh yes, yeah. Hey Joel, have you ever been in a hotel?" And Joel's like, "It's a little above my price range," but they gave it a test in this episode, which is nice as well. It's just so funny. Like this is line straight from the game, but you can instantly tell Pedro and Bella have that chemistry.
Wasn't the line like a little too rich for my blood or something in the game?
That might be exactly it. Yeah, we're a little too rich for my blood. Because like those are like downtown hotels, so it's like I don't know what Joel would ever be doing in a downtown hotel and whatever, but those are expensive, as we know from Celebration. The closer you get to the inner parts of the city, the hotels be expensive. But yeah, water shallow. So yeah, they keep making their way, and this is when they come across that like part of the game or part of the show where Tess has to like go through the rubble, and then we get Joel and Ellie talking. And he learns that she learns that he's from Texas. Tess is from Detroit, but Joel doesn't want to really say any more than that. He kind of like pushes her off again, which again is fascinating. Like we get these little bits of small talk, but Joel is still not willing to give her a lot. There's a couple of things that he just doesn't want to talk about, primarily like where he came from and why. I'm very excited for him to reveal stuff about Sarah to her. That's gonna be some good shit.
Oh yeah.
I can't remember if the point I'm at in the game, if he's told her anything.
What part are you at in the game? You're at the library in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, in Pittsburgh. I don't know if he has.
No, he hasn't. Right? No. Yeah, because
they've had some deeper conversations, but mostly like
they've grown by the time they get to Pittsburgh. They have a good car ride.
Is Pittsburgh after Tommy?
No, before. That's why I said yeah. Okay. That's when she reverts a lot. Yeah. I can't wait to see Tommy again. Let's see here. They're blocked. Tess explains the infected. I guess the infected part came after the hotel. Weird. But yeah. So when they see that the infected have like kind of taken over the route that they were going to take, they decide after they get out of the hotel lobby to go to the museum, the best place in the world, right, Nathan? Don't you love a good museum? No. As somebody who's worked in a museum for like what was it, 7 years, I would hate living. I mean, I think museum was a good place to like fortify, but if the museum's been overrun and then you have to go inside of it for fear of like what might be inside, then you're screwed. Because unless the area is cleared, museum is full of like small nooks and crannies as they eventually come across in the show in the game, and it's pitch black out. There's drapes all over the walls, so it's like you can hardly see the light. And then there's infected. Oh fuck that.
But you said you worked at a museum?
Oh yeah, I never told you that.
Oh, regular Stephen Grant.
Exactly. Who's that?
Were you the one during the ranking who was like Moon Knight on the list? Where's Shang-Chi?
Oh yeah. Because Moon Knight being above Shang-Chi was ridiculous.
Was it even on the list or an honorable mention?
No, Moon Knight was on the list. I'm pretty sure it made top 10. For people who don't realize, we did a top 10 Marvel podcast on another channel, and Shang-Chi was not on the list.
That's insane.
Insanity. But Black Panther and Loki were top 2, of course, as they should be. Right, Nathan?
Good choices. I'm not mad. I'm literally not mad.
So yeah, they were scared to go through the Boston Museum before, but now they have no chance or no other choice because of the fungus and the the disease of it all. So once they're inside this area, it's
those stairs are gonna fall over, man.
Disgusting stairs. Like the you can see the fungi all over the stairs in the way they're like climbing over the fungi. Kelly.
Kelly's trying to infect me.
Oh no! Tell her not to eat any flour. No, I'm kidding.
There was a cool thing where
burritos.
No.
Tortilla.
Tortillas. You don't like that movie? Stop it.
All right, that shouldn't be mine to claim.
What's tortilla?
Anyway.
Oh, the menu.
The menu. But anyway,
Great
there was a great scene where Joel's like testing the moisture of the fungus
root
outside.
Yeah, outside the museum. Yeah, I like that scene. Yeah.
He's like, it's all dried to bone.
Yeah, it's like maybe the virus is like it seems dead, so
maybe they finally died off in there.
Exactly. Maybe they died off in there, so maybe it's all clear.
And that's when they find the torn up dude, right?
Yeah, when they're on the stairs, right?
Yeah.
Which I think is a small segment of the game where they're like, in this case, you're not in the museum, but they're in like in the downtown building. Before you come across your first clicker, you come across like the guy that's like been torn to shreds, and that's when you get your first revolver in the game.
Does he have a note on him?
Oh no, you get your first. It's either revolver or 9mm. I think it's 9mm now. No, it's revolver. You mean your first revolver in that part? But what'd you say?
They find this guy, and I'm like, is there a note? Does he have a note on him?
In the game, he had a note. I think it's like because he was assigned to like defend the downtown area. It's like I hate this job.
I have been eaten.
Yeah, it's like this is my last will and testament. No.
Have you been enjoying that in Alien Isolation? All the tape recorders.
No, Nathan been trying to get me killed in Alien Isolation. Read a tape recording, stabbed.
Well, the tape recording is fine because you could leave, but I'm like, go check the terminal. Go open the computer.
Go in the opposite direction.
I didn't think it could get you on that one time. Why would they put one in the middle segue of the entrance? We got to get back to it.
We do. Yeah. You got to fix your sleep schedule, my brother.
You mean unfix it?
Unfix it. Now I have to ruin his sleep schedule again so we can play games. Anyways, but yeah, the guy that they found across has been killed like pretty recently. The blood is like it looks for me. It looks still fresh. Like it happened.
Oh yeah.
Earlier that day. So I'm like, oh,
fresh,
shit.
Never frozen.
Exactly.
And they're like, oh, did he crawl in there? And we're like,
like,
could have happened outside. Test. Joel's like, we don't know.
The world may never know.
No choice.
But yeah, they make their way to the exhibit. I just like, again, I keep mentioning it, but the production design, the sets was very cool.
Yeah, like even like the glass, like being like that perfect level of dirty, but then like when the come in, it's like they're like right behind it, and then I'm like, I started to see all the guns in there. I'm like, wait, do we get one of those guns? I can't remember if they used an old gun at one point. They didn't, but
No, I think it's so funny if he had grabbed a musket.
Yeah, that's what I was like. Okay, maybe that's Uncharted or something when that fucking happens. And
Probably.
Nathan Drake grabs something.
Oh man! If only we get a good Uncharted adaptation, because we don't talk about that 2022 movie.
Maybe
Sorry, Tom.
maybe Neil can handle it.
Neil's so busy. He's creating games. He's directing and writing now.
Would you make an Uncharted movie again or make it a show?
It's tough because
having
if
just
you do
like
a movie, I feel like you can't get far enough, and if you do a show, I feel like you wouldn't have the budget to do the set pieces justice. So I'm like, where's the happy medium?
Well, I'm not even thinking like budget wise, right? Like I'm thinking, having just watched 3 episodes of National Treasure, maybe that like sullied me for adventure television. But like, I think TV shows, like if you do a 9-episode Uncharted 1 story, for example, is there enough action to do 9 episodes in, or is it like Uncharted feels good for a movie, and I don't know if it'll be paced well on a TV show. It could be totally wrong, but it's so action driven, it's so like investigative, and it's
that's
like
what I was wondering too.
Like Indiana Jones, for example. Indiana Jones is a perfect example of like doing your thing good in movies, and for TV shows, it's good for like mystery of the week episodes, like the Indiana Jones TV series. But if you're doing a prolonged series
narrative
for it, I don't know if it'll work out. But you never know. But yeah, I think movie would be best, but I wouldn't mind a TV show.
I just think, whatever it is, it needed to be a different tone than what we got.
Yeah, this one was just like, what's happening?
Yeah,
where's
that
the
just happened.
That just happened. Yeah,
he's right behind me, isn't he?
I just fell out of plane. Oh, cool. Like no.
Is that actually a line?
No, it's not.
It might as well be.
Maybe. I cannot remember bits of dialogue from that movie.
It dropped on Netflix and stuff. I'm not watching it.
I mean, granted, it's not an awful movie. I've seen a lot more worse movies.
I saw it in theaters. I saw the movie in theaters.
I did too. Yeah.
Oy.
I wanted to, but
Oy.
That's almost a year ago.
Nathan saw Morbius instead.
Once. I think I watched Everything Everywhere the same day as well, so I repented day of.
Nice. Good
no one likes to talk about that.
Well, you still tainted that day.
Exactly.
I did not. I purified after.
Oh, nice.
But you wasted energy watching Morbius.
No, I didn't.
So you could not put your full potential.
I did it so you didn't have to. How about that?
Okay.
Even though I made Evan finally watch it.
And it was good. I actually really liked. No, it was bad.
Great movie, huh?
Yeah.
I was really taken aback. I was like, was it this bad?
Because we're watching it like this movie we're almost at the end of the movie already and nothing has happened.
It flies by.
Nothing and everything has happened. But yeah, so further back into The Last of Us, they climb further up. They make it to like the weapons or like some kind of exhibit, and then there's a huge crash behind them, and I'm just like, oh, it's a wrap. It's a wrap because that was super loud.
And the stairs come down, I think. Or parts of the. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's the stairwell that parts of the something comes down, or maybe it's furniture from the next floor that falls through. Something.
Yeah, I thought it was that. Effect. I thought it was more so like furniture from like the above area. Either way, something comes down, shit crashes, tons of noise. If I'm playing a game and that happened, I'm like, well, fuck me, because now everything's coming in its direction. And as Nathan mentioned, you can hear the clicks, like click, and it's just the look of dread on Joel and Tess's faces as they know what's happening. Ellie is still like talking in like a room level talk, and Joel is just like, hush, like it's time to get quiet here because. And I love the scene, and apparently this was done in reshoots, as Neil explained it, because earlier on, when they get to that scene, there is no scene with Joel telling Ellie be quiet. All of a sudden, Joel and Ellie are just very quiet, and the scene ensues. But apparently, they did. One of the HBO producers after the show was like, "Why are they quiet when there's clickers around? What's going on here?"
That's right.
So they and Neil and Craig were like, admittedly, they just thought they explained it well enough beforehand, like on the highway sequence, how like there's certain clickers and the hive mind thing, and just the necessity to be quiet. But I think the HBO guy was like, I think you need to be a bit more clear, and I think it worked out because the scene with Joel and Ellie, and Joel is just like kind of using sign language. He's like, just like be quiet, like using just kind of like sign language, not sign language, but just like using his hands to say like no talking.
Yeah, and then I love
completely silent.
And then it makes us understand the geography of the fight so much better because they get separated, and then we and it's very interesting to watch.
Yeah, like you understand each area of the museum pretty clearly. I think Neil directed this very well, where you can easily tell where the clicker is in relation to Joel and Ellie. And then Tess gets separated too.
Tess gets separated. I'd have to go back and look if we actually see when Tess gets bit.
No, this is a small nitpick because whenever I replayed the game, there would always be a scene near the end of that museum level. In the game, Joel gets separated from Tess and Ellie, and then Joel has to come rescue Tess and Ellie.
Right, because I remember having to go. There's two sides. They're kind of parallel rooms, but you have to get to the other door and then get through or something.
Exactly. You come in, you rescue them, and at the end of that sequence, Tess is strangling and then bashes somebody in. And I think that's when she gets bit. You can look for a sequence where she gets bit.
Yeah. There is an interesting thing.
Because she does use the axe here. She uses the something to bash in the head. But I don't know. She got bit there.
I really wish we would have seen a small sequence of like, oh, this is probably when she got bit. So
viewers can cut away, like it was very like.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
So viewers can come back and be like, oh, small little Easter egg. This is when she got bit, but you're just supposed to be like, oh, she got bit off screen.
Because
there's a different one.
Different what?
What?
There's a different. There's after they like go across the board and they walk between buildings and Tess is like in a hurry to move and they're making a run for the dome. She looks back at Joel, make sure he's keeping up, and you can see when she like stretches her neck, you can see the light.
Really?
As it's like blink and you'll miss it, but it is there.
I must have blinked.
Well, so did I until I watched the breakdown.
Was this on TikTok?
I get mine from long form YouTube, sir. 40-minute videos only.
40-minute YouTube videos.
Yeah, probably 30. They're detailed, baby.
Yeah, I mean, I think for most of last, I just listened to the podcast, then I listened to a YouTuber, and that's about it for me. Ben, hello there. Hope you're all happy and healthy.
Hello there. Yeah,
thank you. Watch Andor. Hell yes. Hell yes. Oh no. How late were these comments, Nathan? Have you been?
Don't worry about it.
What did he say? Is he getting spoiled?
Oh Jesus Christ. 30 minutes in.
At least play the game.
Gotta spoilers. Evan's old wave.
I made a tweet. I said this is spoiler deep dive.
Deep dive. Okay.
Follow me at Harris Even 9 to get all the juicy Last of Us. So. Actually, don't follow me because I might retweet some part 2.
Put that in your name at this point, just like Evan Last of Us spoilers.
Yeah, I don't like people with long names on Twitter.
TLOU spoilers.
I can do that.
Chlo.
But yeah, in general, the action sequence with the clickers is just phenomenal. There's a sequence where the clicker like jumps over the table to go right at Joel, and Joel's like face to face with his clicker. That was gnarly. If a clicker ever jumped at me, it's game over for me.
That's like, at least a quick time event. That
has to be a quick time event because like they don't really jump at you. They're not relatively slow, but they're just like swinging their arms around. And you can kind of like juke.
Yeah, dude, that fucker started running and then he like bounced off something. I'm like, oh no.
Yeah. Like again, there's no way I survive in this world. I am done. I am complete.
This world is on grounded mode for sure.
The amount of times Kelly and I said Kelly's like, I'm staying in the apartment until I'm running out of food. Then I'm just going outside. Hasta la vista.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I guess like I would never leave like the Boston QZ. Like fuck seeing the outside world. Like I'm good. I just want to survive at this point. Even though beds must be shitty. Like
it's sitting on the concrete block. They don't even have a bed frame.
Oh, it's like I can imagine living the rest of your life with no good beds, unless you like raid a hotel or whatever. But even then, there's like no dry cleaning. It's disgusting. Anyways, what was I gonna say? Yeah, the action sequence is incredible. Very well directed by Neil and all those involved. The clicker design just needs to be said. They look really, really good. I love the way they look and feel. Well, I haven't really felt them, but they just look very close to the game.
They were bringing up and, CG is great, but they wanted to capture them practically, and I think that honestly helps in like the blend between a human performer and someone who's actually infected.
Exactly. Oh, and that reminds me, Nathan. Thank you. That the performers who voice acted the male and female voices of the clickers in the games returned in the
to do the clickers.
Show. Yeah,
that's wonderful.
So the clickers, the voices are the same voices from the games. The performances, are different. Like they got like fans of the game. They got like actual like performers to be the clickers.
The BTS was cool because they were going through like they made new designs, but then they kept like referencing back to like the game designs, and then it's like, okay, how are we gonna build this into prosthetic type?
Yeah. They're slightly same as the game, slightly different as well. Again, trying to keep everything as practical and as reasonable as can be. Because for the game, you can make it look as crazy as you can.
What I think works so well is like, obviously when you have like a lot of low light stuff, but then it goes like immediately panning over with the flashlight immediately in the face. Like the prosthetic looks still good, like up close, literally with bright light on it. It's so cool.
Yeah. And I like that the clickers can't get affected by light as well. You can shine a bright light.
Yeah, like I kept like, oh my god, like Joel's fucking flashlight's on the floor, and I'm like, dude, you're gonna. I'm like, oh wait, wrong.
This isn't like Alien where you shine a flashlight, it's like it's over. Like clickers can't really detect light, which is good. Light or sound, which I guess is a big advantage that humans have. But again, clickers are disastrous. And
can they smell?
They can smell blood.
Yeah, I don't think they got a nose.
They have no nose anymore. It's all been
smells like a mushroom.
Squished. That's disgusting.
I also like in this episode the whole idea. Well, I mean, Ellie just straight up asked Joel, like, "Do you ever feel like regret for like that they were once humans?" And
what did Joel say?
Like that during the talk when they're stuck in Tesco.
No. Yeah. How does Joel respond to that? I forget.
He says sometimes.
Yeah.
And he kind of trails off because we sort of get this implication that he obviously had to kill a lot of zombies and stuff throughout.
Some friends.
But it's interesting because we linger on the first sort of kills, because it's the first kills that we see them do. Obviously, the first episode we see Joel has to kill the old lady. Tommy has to kill the military
Fedra
guy.
Officer. Yeah.
That was wild this week, just seeing like previously on.
Trauma.
That sound design was again really good. They isolated that shit.
After the last clicker here, it lingers on it after the one that Tess like shanks in the head, and then I can't remember how it dies. Falls over. Oh, Joel keeps shooting it with the assault rifle.
Pause. Joel wasted so much ammo in this sequence. I'm like,
oh yeah, he's out on his pistol.
He's like,
but again, I like that whole anger element coming back into it, where he's sort of being reckless.
Yeah.
But anyways, there's a shot where we see the clicker is on the floor and it's like bleeding out, but it's very, it's like, it looks like very human blood still. Obviously, it's not like some new color or anything.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh shit, like that's human blood coming out of a brain, like. And so it kind of messes with you.
That's a good point. Like, I never really realized, but yeah, when you kill a bloater, or when you kill like a clicker or a runner, like red blood comes out. Like those people used to be human. It's not like in other games where you see blue or green blood, but no, it's all red blood for them.
Yeah, and I had to go back because it's like right before they ask Ellie if she's okay. You know what I mean? Like, and so she might be looking at it and just watching like. So it's all those things of like her having to react to death, even though it's not a human death, it's still death.
Exactly. So yeah, they make their way outside, and Ellie reveals like, "I've been bit." She's like, "Oh fuck." If it had to be, there's a quote. If it was going to happen to one of us, she jokes. At least it's just at least it's me. Yeah. And Joel again is very just like, oh fuck. But Tess is like, she's still hopeful.
This is where This is where we get that Ellie goes across the board. Joel is taping up Tess's ankle, and she kind of has a heart-to-heart with him and says, like, just believe in the proof for once. Like, go over there and watch her, but believe in the proof. This is
except for once we have a win.
Yeah, like,
be happy that we survived, and be happy that this girl is still alive. Yeah.
And it's not even like be happy. It's like just open your eyes. You know what I mean? Like just look at what you're seeing. Like there still can be some rationality in this world, which I thought was very interesting.
She's teasing in it. She's teasing like her beliefs to Joel. She's not fully saying like commit to the cause, but she's just saying appreciate like what just happened. We survived this ordeal.
Because by the way, earlier in the episode, we see him like there's a Firefly like sort of code person that comes up to him and is like, blah blah blah, you look lonely, shine the light or whatever. He's like, shine the light, fuck off. Like
like,
and so we slowly start to see him like, oh, like it's not just about me getting the car battery to go get Tommy. It's about, you know, sort of some other things. And yes, I might as well finish this job out because suddenly it's more important. But then we get there and they're all dead. Now what? And then it all builds up emotionally to that last conversation between Tess and Joel.
Big time. And this is where we get there. Yeah, they're making their way. And just want to say, like, as Nathan mentioned, that sunset shot as Ellie's on the board and Joel looks at Ellie. They look at the Capitol building in the distance. Beautiful shot, straight from the game. It looks good. And then Joel's like looking at Ellie look at the sunset. And he's like seeing it through her eyes. It's beautiful.
Yeah, because we forget that she had, like, I kept forgetting that she hadn't been outside the zone. So it was like,
no.
And it's like, it's so interesting. One of the interesting things about this world is like, there's no like innocence and discovery really, but then through Ellie there suddenly is, and it's like, oh, this is different now. And so I loved that shot. I think exemplified that sort of thing happening between
I mentioned this last week. Agreed. I mentioned this last week, and I think it has that cool Ray effect where like Ray is. I never seen this much green in the galaxy before. It's like I love that portrayal where like the older figures like getting warmed up little by little by this new character whose eyes are just now opening to the larger world.
There's a whole other layer to this that Ellie's never seen a pre-Rubble world, which is so tragic. And so Joel and Tess's frame of reference is completely different to what she, like, to them, it's nothing spectacular. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's no normalcy, there's no beauty.
It's actually worse, Like, this is their nightmare.
It's actually worse than it's their nightmare. But for her to see, you know, an open world is like, wow. Like, and so I love these little parallels that go out. I mean, it's just the classic case of having the younger character and the older character, but I think it works really well.
So and then you see a little pep in Tess's step as she is hurrying to get to the Capitol building. And it's very, because when Joel was like fixing up Tess's injured leg, I thought she got bit in the leg. So in the show she's gonna be bitten in her leg, not her neck.
Right, and like she didn't pull down the sock, and it was just like,
I was like, oh shit. But then no, it's on top actually. It's still like just like the game. It's on the corner of her neck, so she can pull it down and show Joel. But they get to the Firefly base, the Capitol building. Not really a base, just a meeting spot. And they come across a truck outside, and there's a guy dead inside. One in the front, one in the back. You're like, okay, this is not great. They make their way inside this beautiful dome structure of the Capitol building inside Boston. And apparently this was done all on the... Nathan, did you listen to the podcast as well? Did they say this was done like on the London soundstage? All of this?
Maybe, possibly.
I don't know if they fully created this, but I know the scene of Tess like looking at all the zombies was done on the London soundstage. But in general, this stage looked very good. Very cool.
No, everything is practical except for like any like window you can see out. They have in the behind the scenes at least they have blue screens just on the very exterior.
Okay, nice.
And so anything that you can see outside is not practical, but the whole rubble in there and all that is practical.
Nice. But yeah, this is one of my absolute favorite moments from the game. This breakup between Joel and Tess. It's not really a breakup. It's just like this. There's so much happening in the sequence. Like Carson just mentioned, like it's a roller coaster of emotions because for Joel, this is supposed to be the end of his journey, right? With Ellie. It's like I'm gonna give her off with I'm gonna give her away to the Fireflies. I'm gonna get my battery and go to Tommy. And this is gonna be that's my mission, that's my goal. But everything is upended. The Fireflies are gone. There is no person to give Ellie to, and all of a sudden he's frantic and he's thinking of like, what do I need to do to get this girl off my hands? Because again, he kind of still doesn't believe in Ellie. He doesn't believe that she's the hope, that she's the cure. He wants to get her away from himself as possible. Whether that means just because he doesn't want to get close to her or that he just wants to stay in that bit of normalcy that he has. He doesn't want to get close to Ellie. While Tess, on the other hand, when she realizes that there's no hope, that the Fireflies are gone, it's even worse because for her, it's been a ticking clock. And I don't know what would have happened if the Fireflies were there. Like, eventually she would have died anyways, right? So the scene probably, I don't know how that plays out. But she had a few hours to live anyways. And I think for her, giving her away to the Fireflies a way to be like, okay, I did my part, even though I'm about to die. She can say to herself, I did my part. Here, you guys go. Here's Ellie. Here's your cure. Hope it works out. But unfortunately for her, she has to reveal this to Joel right now. And she has to reveal, and she has to give away Ellie to Joel, who doesn't really believe. So it's like, it's too many things happening. And then on top of all of that, for Ellie to see that the Fireflies are all gone, it's a first hurdle for her in the sense that like people are dying in the pursuit of her mission. They met at the Capitol building for her, and people are like dead. Like this journey cost them their lives, and it was because of me. I don't think this was really brought up, but I think it's something that I've always really thought about. Especially in this episode, because in the game it's just Fedra, so she doesn't really feel any responsibility minus Tess. Tess is the big responsibility that she feels, but now in this one I'm like, oh, she can feel the Tess responsibility and the responsibility of all those other Fireflies that got infected and somehow they all end up killing themselves. Whatever happened, it's all tragic, and it just builds upon the tragedy for all three of them. But this breakup between Joel and Tess is just so well acted and so well done. There's some lines that are straight from the game, but a lot of lines that were not from the game that I just thought improved upon the game sequence. When she says like, oh man, what's the line? It's something along the lines of, I know you never felt the same way I did, but I need you to do this for me, Joel.
Did she
Something
have
like
feelings, but he didn't?
I think so. I think because episode 1, we talked about it last week, but Carson can comment on this too. But like when she got into bed with Joel is laying down on the opposite side of the bed. He turns away, but they did share a bed. They have been like, I don't know. You can kind of theorize something sexual happened in the past or not, but I've always felt like there were some romantic feelings from both of them.
I think so, or even if they're they have each other. You know what I mean? Like
it's just like it's
a
camaraderie.
different kind of camaraderie. Mm-hmm. Maybe not always going into romantically, but there's still a lot of emotion wrapped up in it.
Big time.
So, because Kelly's like, oh, like, you didn't even say goodbye, Joel? Like, where's your goodbye kiss? Like, what are you doing? Like,
no.
Which I think is a very, very interesting, very interesting choice. And then,
like, Joel took,
but it also exemplifies that their relationship isn't fully there, and it's not like they're star-crossed lovers or anything. So I love the choice that it makes it seem like Joel's choice is more spur of the moment and decisive to just go and take Ellie, do what's right, which it really works for this. Well,
I don't even know if he's doing what's right. He's just being a good person. I'm not going to leave Ellie to die here. I'm going to take Ellie regretfully. And I like how Neil says at the end of the episode, Joel just walks off. And if Ellie follows, she follows. If she doesn't, she doesn't.
Joel fully blames Ellie in that moment.
Yeah.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
I never really, Nathan, did you take that from the game that he blamed Ellie for Tess?
Took that from the pod. But like when I played the game, no, I think he was just more so just like angry at life itself.
I think it was angry at life itself. I guess part of me can understand, even in the game, that he's mad at Ellie for what happened to Tess.
Right.
Because again, this would have never happened if it wasn't for Ellie.
I also just think it's because Ellie's the only one there with him, and also that we can take this back to just the cycles in his life. Although Tess wasn't his daughter, she was still a very close person in his new world, and now that world is shattered once again.
Yeah. But all he has now is Tommy, provided he's still alive.
Which right now it's up in the air. We don't really know.
We heard that 80s soundtrack that in episode 1 at the end, that 80s track means danger. There's
trouble.
Tommy could be in danger. Which again, a big departure from the game. So I have no idea what's going to happen with Tommy and later on in the series.
It's a really interesting thing that they were saying in the podcast too. That like not only is Joel angry at Ellie at this moment, but also Ellie was pissed to have to go with this guy. She didn't want to leave Tess to die.
Yeah, exactly. Like she's like, "Are we just gonna leave her?" And Joel automatically, like going back to Carson's comment, Carson/Kelly, where it's like
he overrides everything.
He's not gonna say goodbye. But no, Joel immediately when he sees that, and like how Troy Baker mentioned in the podcast, he steps back, like, "Oh fuck!" Like
it's almost like he doesn't want to have the tail end of that experience. He doesn't want to go through that again with his own eyes.
Yeah,
and maybe subconsciously Ellie's, but like you said, he's still sort of indifferent about her, and
he goes into mission mode as soon as he hears the people running. He sees that they have seconds left. There's no time for goodbye. He could have said goodbye, but he immediately goes into protective mission mode, grabs the girl, run, and just understands. I think Tess does too, that Joel likes her, but right now it's survive or die.
And so it's almost just through their eyes that they get the whole goodbye.
I think it's also at this moment Joel continuing on isn't because he like, at least not at this point, believes in what Tess is saying, but more so just so she didn't die in vain.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh yeah, we didn't necessarily talk about that, but yeah, at this point, Tess is fully explaining what she wasn't really able to explain to Joel at the beginning of the episode. Because at the beginning of the episode, as we mentioned, Tess was fully like, Ellie survived 24 hours, she must be good. But she didn't really say that to Joel. What she told Joel was that, like, we can't just leave her and give her back to the city. She'll end up dead. And that's when Joel says the line that Nathan mentioned, that, like, we can't keep acting like she has some kind of life ahead of her. That's, like, it's super cruel line. But in contrast, Tess is like, we can't do that because they might bring her back to the city. She might end up killed. Like, her mother instincts are kicking in the beginning of the episode. She does not want Ellie to die. On top of that, she kind of believes that Ellie has a cure.
They brought up another thing too on the podcast where, like, in that moment, Joel was also saying, like, well, better they do it than us. Which Joel's like in the mindset, like, when she does turn, I'm gonna have to be the one to put her down. He doesn't want to have to go through that to kill another kid.
Exactly, and that line, "better her than us," it's unfortunate because at the end of the episode, it's Tess, it's us. Like when he says us, like her than us, and that's when he can feel the blame kicking in because it's like, great, like Tess died for this girl.
It's like now we're just
like the person that I like died over this girl that I just met. All this whole mission, this whole cure that I don't even believe in. But yeah, going back to the Capitol building, Tess is explaining to Joel that, like, look at her mark in comparison to mine. Like, I'm nearly dead within the hour. And I got bit on the neck. Elliot got bit in the arm, and it's already healing just from the mile that we made it from the museum to the Capitol building. Her arm is already healing. Like, this thing is real, Joel. And she's trying to shake that into Joel before they unfortunately get departed. But yeah, like, Tess is fully in believer mode. It's just very unfortunate that her life had to get cut short here. But yeah, fantastic scene. And then it gets even more mind-blowing when the clickers and the runners, when all the runners run in. And they're inside. You get this beautiful shot. I don't even know what it's called. Is it overhead shot? What is it?
It's like behind her overhead, and they're like streaming in like out of focus, and then like they're not turning towards her yet. Like they're just streaming in.
But then
it's
out of
intercut
focus,
with
you
her,
see that one.
the one start to turn, then it focuses, and then it goes back and forth between her trying to do the lighter, her reaction, and then she sort of gets pinned up against that post and just sort of is still trying to do the lighters, but it's sort of mesmerized in a weird way.
It's
with what's going on.
This was disgusting, gnarly. Yeah. I lost my shit. It's like it was, and I like how Craig said, he admitted it was very violative. Where it's like this runner is like putting this fungus inside of Tess through this like violative kiss scene.
Yeah, and it's like slow and it's like weird and like it's not like it's not like a bite. Like it's just like
no, it's slow and it's like disruptive. Craig mentioned how it's like this feeling not of love, but it's just like of this runner, this disease wants to spread. Like right, like this disease wants to thrive, it wants to spread, so it goes to Tess and it wants to spread. They kiss.
A different host, yeah.
And it spread into a different host. It's foul, disgusting, and it blew my mind. I was losing my shit. But it was very well shot. It was beautifully shot for an awful, nightmarish scene. Just these two things clashing. It was beautiful to see. But then Tess finally blows it up and boom. Beautiful shot.
Beautiful final shot to end the episode.
Yeah, and you can see like the light in Tess's eye. I love when shows do that.
Yeah.
When you can see the scene in their eyes. Oh, peak.
Good shit.
Good cinema, exactly. Then this is the end of the episode. They walk off and
next week we're getting Bill
and Frank. Yeah, at the end Tess mentions go to Bill and Frank, basically, I think, did she say give Ellie to Bill and Frank?
Give Ellie to Bill and Frank. Yeah. They'll know what to do.
They'll know what to do. I wonder if they will.
They were also, it's another part of the great line. Just like Joel's at variance is like, they're not going to take her. And she's like, yes, they will, because you'll convince them.
You'll convince them. Yeah.
Good shit.
Which I love how it like recenters the choice onto Joel. And then now as Joel and Ellie go through more things together, obviously that comes into play.
Mm-hmm. Then in the episode, I just also liked how we mentioned it earlier, but Joel just looks at Ellie and just walks off, and Ellie's like left there in her own destruction, just like, fuck, this just happened. Watching the building burn, she just sits there after Joel leaves, and she's stunned because this is the first big death for her. This is the first big like sacrifice.
It kind of reminds me when. Well, in the first episode, they're driving by when things are first starting to get into chaos after they rescue Sarah from the neighbor's house, and they see this someone's house that they know up in flames, and Sarah's like witnessing for the first time like that, and then they're like, Tommy's like, oh shit, that's so and so's place.
Yeah.
So just kind of the world going to shit.
Great point.
And kids experiencing it.
Kids experiencing the world going
Great job, Neil.
Yeah. Good stuff. So that's about it. I'm
hooked. I need Sunday.
Yeah, 80 minutes of Bill and Frank, and Neil said
we're getting another 80-minute episode.
Another 80-minute episode.
Oh my god!
Prepare yourselves. Neil said this is the biggest departure from the video game, so I'm very curious to see what happens.
I can't remember because they get there, and then
spoilers ahead for the game, people. Spoilers ahead for episode 3.
Spoilers ahead. Bill, one guy's fucking pissed. He's like, "What the hell are you doing here?" Like,
in the game, he's not going to Bill to give Ellie to Bill. He's just going to Bill to get a car. The iconic line, "Joel needs a new car," from Bill, which is very hilarious. So they need a car.
Because then, did they go to the school for parts? Right?
They go to school for go to school for the car.
They look at
the car and it's like barged into the building. They can't get it out. They can't even get the battery out, so they have to find something else.
I think initially they find the vehicle, but the battery's gone.
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah, they find the vehicle, but the battery's
then
gone.
They find
some kind of vehicle in Frank. Yeah, in the present time, Frank is dead. But in the show, is Frank going to be dead or alive in the present time? I'm very curious.
See, I don't know if
I think we're getting flashbacks. They might be
Who
the
is Frank?
Frank was Bill's boyfriend, who was on like when you get to Billstown, at the end of the level, you see somebody hanged. Bill cuts that person down, and there's a note, and you kind of
committed suicide.
Because he was infected and he didn't want to turn.
Yeah.
And like in the game, it's revealed that Frank had left Bill a year. It's been some time since Bill has seen Frank, and I think Bill had assumed Frank just left the entire area, but you realize he said he couldn't stand Bill's constant need to just his claustrophobic need. Like Frank said, I just need to get away. This is too much for me. And we realized he didn't get very far, unfortunately, and then he hanged himself. And then it's so sad.
Wow.
Um,
but a lot of that stuff good to approach.
Yeah.
Approach it then.
I don't think he's gonna get hanged in this episode. I don't think that's how he leaves.
I think he is.
You think so? Okay.
I think so. I think they're gonna be the cold open.
But I've been seeing a lot more of Frank and Bill. I just, for some reason, I think Frank's gonna be alive.
Yeah, because in that preview, there was like a couple of shots of them like talking.
I can't tell if that's in the flashback.
Yeah, but I don't think the world went under during those scenes.
Good
I think it's flashback.
I don't know.
There is like one shot where I think Frank's holding Bill up after being like hit, but I think that could be like while everything's going down.
Yeah, but then I didn't know. Like it look like that was the school to you guys? Like, do you think they're still going to the school?
I thought they were in a front yard.
Probably. I don't think the school's going to happen in episode 3.
Okay.
I think that's going to be a big change. I don't think we're going to go to the school. Because in the trailer, remember we see that sign of the shot of the bloater coming up? I think we could still get a bloater at night shot.
Oh, right.
But it's going to be Bill and them at night. Location. And in general, there was no night sequence in Billstown at all. It's all set during the afternoon. So it's like, the fact that we're getting a night sequence, I have no idea what's happening. I'm ready to be blown away.
Will we get a nail bomb?
Yeah, this is where we get our nail bomb. This is where we get a shotgun. And our bow and arrow.
Also where right before this is it Joel or Ellie gets caught in one of Bill's traps or whatever and is like hanging upside down?
Joel does. He's hanging from the weight of a fridge.
That shit is terrifying.
Yeah.
Oh, it's awful because you're trying to shoot, but you're discombobulated from moving.
Yeah.
And like, do you switch over to Ellie trying to shoot the?
Yeah, you switch over to Ellie or something. I don't.
No.
You just shoot.
Is Joel trying to get the rope?
No. You see Ellie trying to get the rope, but you can't do anything. It's just Joel protecting Ellie while she does it.
Right.
So you just shoot at the clickers and the runners the whole time. You have infinite ammo.
There's some game where like you had to like shoot something real tiny.
I think you can part 2. But yeah, it was incredible. The preview looked good. I can't wait to watch.
I forgot there was a preview. I didn't watch it.
Well, that's on
I jumped out because I was like, I need to make this thumbnail.
Did you watch it today?
I did.
What? You guys?
Wow.
What do you do on Sundays? Watching football? Jesus.
Jaguars are out. He was not watching football.
Nice.
Yes, thanks, Kansas.
Haha.
Don't we fight you guys? Bengals versus Kansas? Is that happening?
Do we? I don't know.
I think so.
I don't pay attention.
Are you the Chiefs?
We are the Chiefs.
Go Bengals out of spite.
We fight you guys. AFC Championship. I only know this via periphery.
Unless Kansas wins, don't root for Kansas just for camaraderie.
The Bengals can have back-to-back Super Bowl, which I'm not really a big football guy, but that's very exciting.
Oh, maybe you'll have a day off of school and then you'll suddenly be so invested.
We didn't last year, but I could call off.
Are you guys off on Sundays?
It could be a national holiday. No, I'm kidding. Before we end, I want to talk about Percy Jackson casting.
Oh yeah,
because Percy Jackson had his final week of filming. We all thought Percy Jackson was going to wrap up filming on the 25th, but Becky Riordan, the wife of Rick Riordan, tweeted out that like, even though people have thought the production would end on the 25th, there are still additional pickups. There's still additional stuff. So I think this is the last big week that Rick had a whole letter today saying principal photography has finished, but they're doing wrap up stuff, additional scenes that they can add. But mostly it's pretty much done in terms of production. But there's a whole year of post production to go. ADR, sound editing, sound mixing, and all that kind of shit.
And VFX.
VFX, big time, exactly. I wonder what those rough cuts look like right now, though. But anyways, we've been waiting we've got our Hades, we got our Hephaestus, we got our other
Who
gods.
is Poseidon?
But we needed Poseidon
and Zeus.
We needed Zeus. You know, it's called a lightning thief. Somebody lost their bolt. That's Zeus. And somebody is the father of Percy. That's Poseidon. Like, these are two integral characters.
I know everybody was waiting for Poseidon casting. But seeing the casting for Zeus got me amped.
There's no way.
Lance,
like,
baby.
I audibly, like, in the middle of class, I was like, holy shit. Not to say holy shit. But I was like, holy crap. My students like, what are you looking at, Mr. Harris? I'm like, nothing. This is crazy. Lance, what's his name? Lance Reddick?
Lance Reddick, yeah.
Holy shit, as Zeus. Wow.
He has such a voice for it, man. It's going to be incredible.
It's super
Of course,
exciting.
we love him in, the John Wick movies, right? Where he's the...
Yeah.
What is his character name?
I forget his character name.
He's like the front desk guy or the concierge.
Yeah, he is. Concierge, yeah.
I'm gonna need a gun. No. But
especially in part 3, he goes the fuck off.
he goes.
Oh, he
off
does.
in part
It's so
three.
good. I can't wait to
love
comment.
Yeah. So yeah, he's gonna be Zeus. He just has a fantastic on-screen presence, a big voice. He's also very good in the Horizon Zero Dawn video games. He just carries so much weight and authority to him. I just love him in every single thing. He's also a super fun guy. If you watch like some interviews, he's a really fun guy. So I wonder what got him into this series, minus the paycheck. Yeah, it looks. Yeah, I'm just so excited. I'm ecstatic.
Does he have kids? I wonder if his kids have read the book.
Maybe. I don't know. How old is he? Like in his
He's
50s?
40s, maybe?
40s, 50s. It looks pretty young. But in general, very great casting. Beautiful, beautiful stuff. I've seen nobody complaining about the Zeus casting.
Who's the actor that's playing Poseidon, though? We didn't say.
Actress playing Poseidon is... Well, I gotta pull it up. But he's from... sorry. He's from Black Sails, which is a show that I have not watched yet. But
I recently got a purchase of Black Sails, the whole series. I need to watch it.
You purchased all of it?
It was on like a mega sale.
Oh, where's it at? Is it on Vudu?
On my Voodoo, yeah.
Oh, I gotta hook that up then. Because I think it's on Hulu, but it's also on Stars. And I don't know if that Stars is blocking the Hulu or not. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes you can watch Stars stuff, sometimes you can't.
I got a free month of Showtime. I need to see what's on there.
Oh,
there's some stuff.
Is it already activated or not?
Yeah, it's only been active for a couple of days.
Oh, dang it. Because I'm saying...
I have a whole month.
but Yellow Jackets is like the best Showtime show. It comes out in March. So I would say... But I would recommend you watch the first season of Yellow Jackets on Showtime. It's a phenomenal survival series, and season 2 comes out in March. But anyways, Toby Stevens is playing Poseidon. He is apparently played John Robinson in Lost in Space and Captain John Flint in Black Sails. British acting royalty.
I like the resemblance between him and
Walker.
What's the Walker? Thank you.
Walker, Texas Ranger.
Texas Ranger.
My mom's favorite show growing up. Oh my god, I watched that show so many times. But yeah, Toby just looks exactly like Walker in terms of like a father figure, like the blue eyes, the blonde hair.
Ryan Reynolds
Blue eyes, white
is
dragon.
Poseidon.
So this just happened, guys. You're not gonna
This
believe
just
it.
happened.
Oh god.
Adam Project too. I don't know.
But yeah, so
Hades is right behind me.
so yeah, Lance Reddick is Zeus, Toby Stevens is Poseidon. This is very interesting because there's a later character who is like the son of Zeus in the sequel series for Percy Jackson. I wonder if he's now going to be black as well. Probably not.
Have you both read all the books?
I've read all the
series.
books. I've read the main 1 through was it 5 or 6, and then I've read the Heroes of Olympus series with the Roman gods, which is awesome.
You'll be happy to know I read this time. I've read one book.
Lightning Thief.
Yeah, I read Lightning Thief.
Lightning Thief.
Good job.
So you'll be prepared for season 1. That's good.
Although I read it in 5th grade.
Fuck.
I am a 24-year-old man.
You have enough. You'll have enough time.
All I remember is blue Coca-Cola, baby.
It comes out next year, so you can read all the books in time. Edgar's doing it.
But why should I? Shouldn't I just have the Carson Last of Us experience?
Probably not. I don't know.
I already know all the major deaths though, so it sucks.
Yeah, but you don't know the camaraderie.
In part 1 of Last of Us, or what?
Just in general, like.
Oh.
You know.
You know about 2?
Yeah, I've told you guys this before that I know the big spoiler of 2.
We want to be safe.
Yeah. Don't tell the audience. Ellie does not make. Oh shit. I'm kidding.
Ellie dies.
Ellie dies.
My favorite main character, Abby. Let's go.
That's gonna be some particularly interesting casting.
I can't wait. I'm excited to see her.
Rest in peace, that actress.
Florence Pugh.
Let's go. My short list: Florence Pugh, Brie Larson.
Every short list has Florence Pugh on it these days. Florence Pugh.
She would be really good though.
Would she?
I think probably.
No way.
Why?
No.
I mean, how old is Abby in the games? Like 20s? Like.
No, I figured like.
I thought they're like the same age.
Same age as Ellie in part 2. So like, I forget the time between part 2 and part 1. I think it's like 5 years. So I want to say
so she's 19.
18, 17, 19. Yeah. How old is Ellie right now? 12, 13?
14.
14.
She said 14.
14.
14.
Years, yeah.
Okay, I believe Carson just watched the episodes.
So did I.
But anyways, Percy Jackson. This concludes the casting announcement for season 1. If you have not seen a particular god or demigod announced, that's because they don't appear in season 1 and won't be cast until subsequent seasons. More later, but I am pleased to tell you that we are in very good place as we look ahead to a not yet greenlit but fully anticipated season 2. I wish this was the same attitude going on for Willow because I'm still dying inside waiting for Willow to get announced for season 2. But overall, great casting overall for Percy Jackson. I'm very excited. Can't wait to see the show. Like the trailer probably going to come out later this year.
The show's going to be huge. 2024
show. I'm excited. Disney Plus. After Willow, I'm like, okay, Disney, you got something going on here. I mean, also Andor happened. But yeah, that's about it. Did you guys watch that Shazam trailer today?
I did.
Yeah, it was.
I didn't like
interesting.
Y'all are so fucking.
I didn't like it. I mean, granted, I watched it. It's better than the first trailer. I just punched the dragon.
Yeah, it's better than the first trailer.
That was bad. But this one just felt so messy. And is this a pattern between this and Ant-Man? Or I'm just like, are they showing a lot, or is it just my attitude these days? Because it felt
what if we just think it's a lot, but there have some stuff in?
And that always happens. I would love to be wrong, and I'll be like, oh wow, they didn't actually show a lot. But for me, it felt like they showed a lot of the emotional beats in terms of like the stakes and him probably having to like give his powers away, presumably. I don't know. It just felt.
What I will say is, I got way more of his emotional journey. Like, to me, it was very clear. Okay, the plot: these people are coming. They want the powers back. They don't believe the kids should deserve them. And now we're gonna deal with, oh, are we even worthy to have them in the first place? That's what I got at the plot. As far as,
but
yeah,
whole dragon
there's just a lot of fights, and there was a lot of.
It seemed like the end, right? The whole dragon, the football stadium, his friends are in danger, kidnapped by the gods. I'm like, oh shit, like, and then the whole blue orb, like this is all Endgame stuff. The whole blue thing and Captain, this has to be Endgame stuff. And then he can't rescue his friends, so then he has to like bring himself alone in the football stadium. They're like, Billy, what are you doing? I'm like, whoa, like this is all Endgame stuff. Don't tell me this is second act, first act bullshit. This is third act stuff. Why are you showing me this stuff? What are you doing, Bob?
Yeah, it'll be very interesting.
And then The Rock comes out.
Then the Black Adam comes.
But I will say these trailers are much better than like the Black Adam trailers, for example, where I got nothing out of those Black Adam trailers. It was like, oh,
yeah, that was
like hierarchy.
That could change.
Not even a trailer thing.
I don't know. I trust this movie will still be good because the first one is such a gem for me.
I agree. I think
the
it'll still
emotional
surprise us.
core of that movie still really works for me.
But the marketing has been shit for this movie.
Yeah, the marketing
has
been not
bad.
Been and I wonder how David feels about it, like if it represents the movie at all.
Great. He dropped.
I think he liked the trailer.
He dropped a more high definition link.
He dropped the 4K of it. Of course.
So he gives a damn some point.
Does that make you happy, Carson?
It did. It did make me happy.
Did you click it?
Did you click it?
I did. I went and watched it right away.
Did you?
I could not care if the trailer's 4K or not.
I care. The compression on 1080 sucks.
He clicks the Vimeo link and it just says, because you watched the trailer, it's the Batman.
I mean, honestly, the Batman was the only time I actually clicked on the Vimeo link for a trailer. So I was like,
it doesn't matter on my devices. It all looks the same.
Honestly, it does for me too. Like I'm looking at it on my little smartphone. It looks the same.
I believe you, though,
I
for sure.
you.
There is a difference in the compression.
Sure.
I just wish I had the technology to view it.
Also, Ant-Man projections are coming out. Looking at 190 to 105 million opening weekend.
250.
I've always been saying, like, I think this.
Effect.
I don't know if it's gonna break 100, but I'll say 95 to
what
like
did
110.
Ant-Man and the Wasp do?
67, I thought.
This is different.
Or 76.
This is Kang, baby.
I don't
But,
think
like,
it's gonna break 100.
Is Jonathan Majors pulling in that many people?
Yes.
No.
Like,
I think also the seriousness of the most recent trailer will be like, oh hey, but I like Ant-Man.
Yeah,
is he okay?
That's what I do think. It's like a little bit of like inside baseball that are like Jonathan Majors of Magazine Dreams of Sundance. Like, I mean, look, I'm happy for the guy. I'm excited to see that movie, but the general audience doesn't know about like that he's like, you know, they've seen him in Loki probably. They've seen him in what's the movie he's been in?
Loki, Devotion Bomb, so not that. Loki, Devotion.
Creed 3 coming up.
Creed 3 is coming up.
Yeah, they've seen him in the Creed 3 trailer.
Where is he? What was his big?
What was his first big blockbuster?
Oh, Lovecraft Country was big.
Yeah, Lovecraft Country. That's what I'm thinking of. That was his big like.
Defy Bloods, he was in that.
Defy Bloods, smaller
that's what I was thinking
role.
of.
But yeah, he's only 33.
But I don't think he's a certified star yet, technically.
No. Harder They Fall, he was good in as well.
Well, I think them teaming him up as the next big bad is definitely
certainly. But I'm just curious how. It was
but in the present, you're talking.
Yeah, I keep trying to tell my dad, like, Dad, this is King. He's gonna be the next big bad. He's like,
yeah.
Not
Did he watch Loki?
Yet.
He didn't like Loki. He doesn't like Spider-Man. Doesn't like Thor.
What does? I don't think he likes these movies.
I think I'm gonna take him to. Hopefully, he might. We watched Captain Marvel together, so maybe he'll watch the Marvels.
I think
But
this
given that it might be
movie will do 80 million opening weekend.
Ooh, that's
prediction
low.
right now.
I wanted to do 80 million, and I want the people to say like MCU is falling down. It's not.
I'll say 125.
125.
No fucking way.
Yes.
No.
I'll
way.
say
You watch.
I'll go with the productions. I'll say 105. I'll say just barely over 100.
What was the last MCU movie that came out?
Wakanda Forever.
Wakanda Forever. What did that get? 170 something?
Yeah, that had a big opening weekend. But it also did. I mean, people said it it did only 800 million.
840 is still a lot.
840 million is a lot.
What did it do opening weekend? Jesus Christ! Can't
Never underestimate Paul Rudd, baby.
You're right.
Everyone loves Paul Rudd.
We'll see. Yeah, but it'll be the first big blockbuster since Avatar.
180 million. Jesus.
Yeah, it was massive, really front loaded.
People who are done with their viewings of Avatar might be pining for the next biggest big screen.
Oh, speaking of Marvel, did you guys see what's her name from the Bear is going to be in Thunderbolt in a secret role?
Oh.
Yeah, I saw that news today.
Ayo Edebiri. Ayo Edebiri in Thunderbolt in a secret role.
That's interesting because that's also coming off of some Thunderbolts news that it seems like Ghost has been taken out of the Thunderbolts.
I heard that she's back
Who?
in.
Ghost from Ant-Man and the Wasp.
I heard that
Oh, the character with like 0 lines and does nothing.
Wow,
The whole movie?
wow.
She has many lines.
She's like the best part about
She got a monologue, my guy.
She's the best part of that movie. Her powers are so cool.
Carson rewatching MCU Film Challenge.
But I heard, Nathan, that she's back in it. I heard that rumor guy was like, actually, I got it wrong. She's still in it.
Well, good, because I like it.
But in Thunderbolts, by the way, just so much going on in this movie. Like, wow.
I still don't know
like,
what the formation of this is even about? Like, is it a team? Like, what is the purpose of this?
Given all these scoops, I think like apparently there's going to be Red Hawk is going to be in here now. The Sentry.
A lot of it's supposed to carry over to Cap 4 as well.
Cap 4 as well.
It's kind of like a hand in hand.
Yeah, and then
but this is supposed to come about. This is supposed to come out after Cap 4.
Yes.
It's going to be the conclusion of Phase 5.
And Cap 4, we're going to see an Avengers team, presumably. I don't know who's going to be in that Avengers team.
Is it a heist film?
Thunderbolts?
Yeah.
I hope so. I like it.
The quote I saw this week was the Kevin Feige quote about how he's ready to tell 80 years more of MCU. And I'm
you didn't. That's not a quote.
Oh my.
That's not
God.
a quote. He did not say
yes,
that.
It is. He's like,
can you imagine 100 years of MCU?
He literally said, we have 80 years of amazing stories to tap into, and we will continue to.
I think he's saying 80 years since Marvel was created, right?
He might just be talking about the source material.
The source material.
He's saying there's so much source material that it's never gonna end. Is what he's saying.
Oh well, I wouldn't say.
I mean, there's a lot of diversity. You don't have to stop.
I know.
You don't have to stop.
You don't have to. You as a viewer can stop if you'd like.
No, I can't. I'm too far in.
You're too far in.
I'm locked in.
We're in a whole new saga. This is a multiverse saga. You didn't have to come.
At some point, we're gonna have to just stop caring about continuity and all that, and just make like weird shit. Because
well, that's the magic of the multiverse, baby. That's why we have.
Because if we get all the way down to, if we get down to Phase 7 and like 20 and like oh, you didn't see Civil War back in 2016, bruh. Like
yeah, you're right, Carson. It has to get to the point where the phases have to only connect to the certain phase it's in.
Right.
Or like,
I think they will.
Because even the peak of whatever this next journey is, it's going to have so many heroes that have been created and built up through the.
I think the important thing that Feige's doing is like Avengers Endgame is affecting Phase 4, even though it was in Phase 3. It was a big thing, and now it's in Phase 4. And then Phase 4 through 6, the multiverse saga. So whatever happens at the end of Phase or the end of Secret Wars is going to affect the X-Men in Phase 7. So it's like, I think, I'll watch till the end of the X-Men stuff.
It's just crazy to think about as a concept and just as a bigger.
My kids are legitimately going to be watching MCU movies. Like, I can't show them all my MCU movies. I can't.
They'll grow up with them. It's fine. I think it's baffling to think about because obviously they've pitched this type of idea before that we would get to where we are now. We didn't think we really did get this far because when you're adapting comics and comics have run so many different lengths of time and sometimes they do call back to old stories and bring them back here. But ultimately, I don't think a lot of people were prepared by the scope of it because we're not doing comics. This is like full-blown media that we're watching physically. But so I think it works in tandem. Like if you want to watch them all, by all means you can. If you don't, I think they do also work to make them accessible enough to hop in. I mean, obviously when there's like big things, then yeah, like you're not just gonna hop into like the middle of a crossover event and be like, well, what, huh?
Like I think the only time they expect people to watch something that's not referenced in the movie itself is like the Avengers movies. Like you have to see Endgame to understand what's going on right now, right? Like, and I assume
what about Civil War? I mean,
Civil War, no. Like Civil War hasn't been referenced outside of like Phase 3, right?
I meant like when you go in to watch Civil War.
Oh, that's true.
Because even though it's billed as a Cap movie,
but if I came in there as like, you'd be fine having just watched Cap 1 and 2 and then Civil War. Because presumably you know who Iron Man is. Like, if you saw the first 2 Avengers movies, which again, you have to watch the Avengers movies. If you saw the first 2 Avengers movies, Civil War made complete sense, I think.
Yeah, for sure.
So, like, I think, in general, watch the Avengers movies, some solo movies, and you'll be fine with anything that's going on. The Avengers movies are always, like, the linchpin of the storytelling.
Yeah. The thing is, since we're not in comics, they don't have the added thing of like whenever something's referenced, and then they'll put like a little asterisk bubble saying like, check so and so issue.
That happened in Star Wars. I was reading Dr. Aphra and it said like, read Hidden Empire. I'm like, I didn't read Hidden Empire yet. Oh my god! I'm not
watch season 2, episode 4, The Mandalorian.
Honest. Oh god.
But I think it's so interesting because it's like how do we keep topping the world-ending event? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
maybe you don't have to.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just
and
like circumstantial to the characters you have.
Maybe that's the answer.
But then we get Secret Wars. Feige wants to top the hell out of it.
I mean that is like how you top, but I don't think we can go past that.
But I think after Secret Wars, Feige's gonna be like, okay, now here's our X-Men. Here's something fresh and new. That's how you can top it, by just introducing a whole new
I mean, then we might just go Age of Apocalypse.
Age of Apocalypse and the Phoenix Saga.
Well, I think they could do it after we have like multiple films.
I think Phoenix Saga will be like phase 8 or 9. Like, wait for that.
You know we're gonna get that Avengers versus X-Men.
Oh God. Who's gonna be the funny thing is, we're running through our Avengers in these early phases, and it's like the funny thing is, like in the comics, Iron Man's in all these climatic events, like Avengers versus X-Men, Civil War, all these stuff.
That's where it's like
we can't have Iron Man or Cap in any of the Endgame stuff.
It's such a difference in medium, like as Nathan was saying, that because we have multiple years in between stuff, and it takes so much to make a movie, that it just naturally characters are going to have to end earlier, and it's not as reflexive as comics.
That's a good point.
So it's very interesting, and also they have literally trained audiences into this eventized pipeline of like, like, what does it look like if they stop doing that and just making like individual different stories? I mean, obviously they already are. I mean, especially like the Disney Plus shows. But even then, it's like, oh, we're gonna Kang.
There are seeds planted, sure.
Yeah. So overall, I'm just very curious. Like, what are the history books gonna say? Like, what am I gonna look back and like, yes, 2055 was the last Marvel movie. Like,
well, thank God we have them broken up into phases, because if we didn't, this would just be like the biggest on-running sentence you've ever written.
And that's not to say, because in 5 days, and less than that, we are going to get the roadmap for DC's new phases.
Yeah, I'm fucking waiting, man.
James Gunn said the end of January. Excited. January is what? 31st is next Monday, right?
Yeah.
So Tuesday. So the next time we do a My Cup of Tea episode, whether that's going to be Monday or Tuesday, we'll have knowledge of what these first couple movies are in the DC under James Gunn, DCU under James Gunn. Which is very exciting.
Surely it's Superman. Like we've already.
It could come out as soon as tomorrow. Superman's one of them confirmed, but what are the other? Are we going to get a Batman movie?
I think any Batman.
Yeah, I think they'll announce. I think they'll say Batman 2025.
A year after Batman Pattinson. Because I already think Pattinson.
A different Batman.
A different Batman. Oh yeah.
No, I think they're going to announce
the DCU's version of Batman. Because I was talking to Nathan about it. I forget what, maybe. But either way, this version of Batman under the main DCU, not Robert Pattinson, I want him to bring across Robin, introduce Robin from the Drum, introduce like some.
Yeah, we've talked about this.
Yeah, like I would love just to differentiate yourself big time from Robert Pattinson's Batman by saying, "Oh yeah, this Batman's been around for years. He has a Robin, and don't kill him off like Snyder did."
And to me, their superpower is, hey, we have Gotham stuff over here. Yes, Batman and everything interacts on a bigger stage, but that's not the focus. We have this whole Gotham and the way the world is viewed much different in this part of the universe, and then Superman is over here, and it's viewed differently. Like by not all having the same tone, which I think Marvel sometimes suffers under, I think we're going to have hopefully some different projects that are going to be interesting moving forward.
I agree. I'm very excited to see what James does.
Arguably, when the Zack Snyder stuff was moving into momentum, mostly everything had to sort of be in that vein, and then they try to break that with Justice League, you know what I mean? And then it's like, so it's just going to be interesting. What's that next tone going to look like for the connecting pieces?
And what directors come on board for all that?
I don't know.
I do think we'll probably fall back into more akin to like what Phase 1 of Marvel was doing, which, I will admit they are like slacking a bit now of having that diverse tone in between the different titles.
But Phase 1 killed it with the different tones.
Absolutely. Whether it's like the patriarchy side of Cap, or the stuff with Iron Man and Hulk and Thor himself being very Shakespearean, and then it all coming together very, very interestingly. And then even like during Phase 2, when they all went back to their respective fields, it still felt respectable enough. Which is why when I make the argument,
there is going to be another Justice League movie.
Oh yeah.
Team up, but what do those counterparts look like that are the building blocks?
I think
can James give me what?
I think Pattinson can.
You think so? You still think so?
I do. I mean, because again, if we keep
this.
Well, that's the thing. It's like, again, if they stick to the thing, and especially under someone like James, who keeps his own tones with his Guardians films, even in the grand scheme of Marvel.
Okay, continue. Sorry.
I think that you can have your thing where like Reeves is like the forefront drive of like, okay, when I'm doing the Batman stuff, I'm doing here, and if you're gonna incorporate them, do a thing like where you incorporate the people who brought them to life, which is why like every fucking Marvel director is a producer on an Avengers movie. Bring them in to consult on like how their character would interact, how it would go. Keep it clean. Don't bring them like out of how they would normally act. So when we go back, it's like, that's weird how you were like this. I think they would be respectful and they would do it right.
I agree.
And I think it gives Pattinson more opportunity to go with a bit more of like crazy.
I look at the ending of the Batman, and it's so fucking perfect and insular to that character. It's not like this, just like the emotional payoff of him driving, like after him in the Selena scene, the rooftop scene, he's carrying the town, the voiceover kicks in. It's not, and then there's no post credits like, oh, we're gonna go over here now. To me, it's like if that exact tone, and it shouldn't be matched everywhere else because every character is different. I don't want to sacrifice having that over here if it's for the sake of it. It can happen, but I would think it would be extremely tough to juggle based on.
I see what you're saying, Nathan. I see, but then for me, like the tone that Batman set, James Gunn would then have to match that in different, not the tone, but just like the era, because Batman is like in a weird thing where it's like it's not modern day, but it looks modern day. Like there's cell phones and stuff.
I think it is modern day. It's just Gotham is such an interesting setting. That it just happens to be its own unique character. Whereas, like, whenever we go to Metropolis with a new Superman movie, it's going to be.
But even how Greg Fraser shoots that movie is dirty and grimy and like. Sure. So what I'm saying is, pulling him out of his own aesthetic, it's going to be very interesting. Like, I don't know. You can, if they get the right filmmaker, I can get on board. But
the big thing for me though is like I want James in this new Justice League-esque world. Like I can't see Pattinson joining the Justice League anytime soon. But like if they do like James Gunn's a different version of Batman with a Robin, with a Nightwing, with an established rogues gallery, like you can do a lot more with
and I
James
think there is room.
freedom.
I think I would rather that route where you say there is room for all these different interpretations and tones, then there has to be singular overarching momentum with every single project. I would much rather be like, okay, Batman and Robin over here, Pattinson's over here. Batman and Robin has his own momentum in a trilogy. Pattinson has his own momentum in a trilogy. That's fucking fine with me. That's
basically, I just want to see Robin. I want to see a Batman.
Exactly. And I don't think you have to force it of like we have to morph Pattinson into like, okay, we're gonna have Robin and then we're gonna expand to the Justice League. I don't think you have to put that on that trilogy. I think you can just have that trilogy and then have a different trilogy. Why not?
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
I think a different auteur to do that trilogy and have fun with it.
I think they can blend it all right. I mean, DC has been doing it for many years in the animation game. They've been killing it on that front. Yeah. Whenever they bring different iterations from different cartoons, and then even when they bring
watch
the
Young
same
Justice, like everyone.
Yeah.
Everybody, please, because season 5 is probably not happening now. Tears in the eyes.
Or even when we like go back to my comic argument with Marvel, bring it over here. When you like read the different comics, like you read a Superman comic and it's very like lively and hopeful, and you read a Batman comic like something like Death in the Family or Long Halloween or something, it's dreary, it's very serious. The detective stories, much like how Pattinson's was, but you know eventually when they do cross, Batman doesn't change who he is. He's still who he is.
Yeah,
he's just in this setting, and it's the different dynamics.
I guess
you
what
could
I'm
have like
saying is
Flash cracking jokes, and he's still just.
I don't want everything.
Batman.
And this is a whole different discussion. I don't want everything morphed into a house style and a house blockbuster type vibe.
That's fair. You don't want it to just be like one uniform. Thing.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's fair.
And because I think that's the mistake that they tried to do. It's like they're like, oh, we're behind. Like there shouldn't be that we're behind Marvel. We need to do all these things. Like just do it yourself.
I think James fully knows that.
Yeah, and I think he does.
Him of all people, for sure.
I hope that he has the support to make that happen. And Zaslav and them are like, oh, we need to.
No. Zaslav gave God a blank check.
Yeah, I don't think James would have taken. I don't think
know.
James would have taken this job if he wasn't like certain.
Exactly.
Creatives
I truly agree,
have their voice.
Let me do what I need to do. Let him cook. But yeah, I think we see the new Batman. I think we see a new Superman. Me personally, I would love to see a Green Arrow in there, but probably not.
Eventually.
Maybe.
I mean, he did say that they're going to experiment with all types of popularity of different characters. So
Lobo. No, I'm kidding. Lobo does not seem like a phase.
If that's the news that Jason Momoa is like, oh, I'm so excited to share with you guys.
I think Momoa doubled down.
He did. It seemed like he did double down at Sundance or whatever he was at. To say like, oh yeah, like Aquaman may be coming to a close,
Aquaman
but
forever, but also I'm gonna be
exactly
other things.
Yeah, I'm like,
But if that's a precedent where they can have, they're like, oh, we can have actors play multiple things. That's fucking cool.
That is cool. I respect it. I like it. Yeah.
If we can have franchises running or different characters played by the same person and it truly works for that actor, that's cool. And that's different than anything really Marvel has done. Nathan's going to come back in and be like, oh, Gemma Chan was actually in the Marvels and she was in... I don't care. It's not the same.
Gemma Chan was like in there for like 5 seconds.
Yeah.
Is that my subconscious talking? That's Nathan.
Did your laptop fall?
I don't know. My main webcam disconnected for some reason.
No.
He's like Snoke. I'm every voice inside your head.
3 different voices. Scared.
It is. But yeah, I think we can just end it up here. This time next week, this next podcast, we'll know the first bit of Phase 1 of the DCU, which is super exciting. And the DC's doing a whole new comic relaunch. If you guys haven't heard about it yet, they're relaunching a lot of their comics. Superman #1's coming out next month. But Green Arrow Titans is also relaunching in around April, May-ish. So is the new Avengers. Avengers has a new roster coming up. So a lot of these comics are restarting. I'm very excited because all I read these days are Star Wars. So I'm excited to get back into like Marvel and stuff like that. But yeah, I'm excited for episode 3 of Last of Us. I'm excited for more DC news next week or tomorrow, maybe, whatever he wants to do. Because I don't think he releases information on the weekend. It's not really.
When did he say this last? Was this like a month ago? He said by the end of...
In December. He said by the end of January. Yep.
Oh, well. I could change.
It's the end of January. So we shall see. We shall see. That's about it.
So we're done with comic talk. I missed the tail end closing.
Oh, I was just saying how like a lot of these comics are relaunching. DC's having a brand new like Superman #1 looks fantastic and it's by Joshua Williamson, who is a great comic writer. Coming out next month. Green Arrow looks amazing. Coming out in April. I can't remember the author's name for Green Arrow, but he's great. Is it Tom Taylor? No, Tom Taylor, who did one of my favorite Marvel runs on X-23. Is doing a fantastic job at Nightwing right now, and he's doing a whole Titans relaunch with this new DC, where Nightwing, of course, with the classic Titans roster, which is super cool. If nobody has ever read the X-23 / Wolverine run by Tom Taylor, I super recommend it. It's amazing. But yeah, new comics are relaunching. DC's news is happening. Pretty much it.
Nice. Where can they find you?
You guys can find me at HarrisEV9, constantly tweeting about Willow, the best show ever. I'll talk about it every week because I'm making a note to talk about Willow every single week. If I don't hashtag Willow every week, something's wrong with me. I'm kidnapped. because I
I
love it.
I mean, I don't think
No,
it's gonna get
stop.
renewed at this point.
No,
I think
no.
it's over, Evan.
No.
It's over.
Crazy.
I
John
think it would have been
Kasdan.
renewed.
No.
I think it would have been renewed.
There's been a lot of shows that take some time. It just takes some time.
The Noah Centennial Netflix show just got renewed.
Netflix is built different. Netflix is like
Is
Netflix
it?
will. Yes,
They're ruthless.
Exactly. Netflix
They also
is
have
ruthless.
230 million
But like
subscribers.
Netflix, it can be like 5 months later, and then Netflix is like, oh yeah, this has been.
That's true,
renewed.
especially with
Oh,
Sandman
shit.
and stuff. That was very late renewal.
Exactly. So I think Disney Plus is even weirder because I'm always trying to look at the history of Disney Plus and their renewals and see like how they worked. It's very hard to tell. Sometimes seasons just drop or it's renewed without any fanfare at all. But Willow has had such a good production, such a good like team, cast, everything. And people are just optimistic. I'm optimistic. I think this show has so much depth and heart to it that I'll be beyond heartbroken. Like if this show gets canceled, I don't know. I can't remember the last show that got canceled.
I just don't know if enough people watched it. It makes me sad to say.
I think it was in the Disney Plus top 10 for a long time.
It never made the Nielsen list though.
The Nielsen list, a lot of shows didn't make the Nielsen list. Like, for example, the Nielsen list dropped today about top shows of 2022. Rings of Power was at the bottom, and that had, I think, at most 8 million people, tens of millions of people, and that's a ton of people. So there's tons of shows that didn't make the Nielsen list. But I think weekly Willow was doing big numbers. Like as decently as well as like most Marvel shows, for example. I think
we never know, you know.
On par or maybe a little bit below Andor, maybe. I'm not sure. It's hard to tell for Disney specifically. But in general, because Disney is also contending with stuff like The Simpsons, which is already on its channel. It's hard to explain. Anyways, Harris, even now, talk about Willow, anime, manga. I'm doing it all these days. I'm doing it all.
Carson.
Me, we're over on Twitter at the Film Carson. Just chilling, hanging out, and been watching The Last of Us episode 3 this weekend, watching some anime on Saturday, catching up on some homework, and maybe finally watching some more Oscar-nominated movies. Will I watch The Fabelmans ever?
Please.
Stay tuned.
Please.
It's good.
We'll watch it with you so I can see the opening.
Did we do a Fabelmans review? We haven't done a Fabelmans review because it came out over Christmas. I don't think
It
so.
came out, it came out Thanksgiving, technically.
Technically, yeah. I love Fabelmans. It's great.
That's all I got, Bob.
Finally watching The Fabelmans, if I can find it. That would be nice. Actually, I really would love to rewatch it. But
yeah, why isn't it streaming yet? It's weird.
Back in theaters, actually.
Good point.
A lot of things are this weekend. But yes, hey, Best Picture films came out. Should we have discussed? I don't know. I guess we'll save that for heartbreak.
Yeah, Josh and I are going to talk about it on a different podcast. Carson already did talk about it on today's podcast. Yeah.
Okay.
Real quick, since you brought it up, I'm pissed again. Viola Davis and Daniel Deadwyler getting snubbed for Best Actress is disgusting. It's criminal. It's the biggest snub. It now ranks as one of the biggest snubs I think we've seen in quite some time. I don't think it's Jake Gyllenhaal worthy. Maybe it is, or Amy Adams worthy. But just in a year of like Woman King and The Till, I'm shocked. I'm shocked.
Yeah.
That both those nominations.
And they did everything right. Like
they did
by by Hollywood standards. You do all the dinners and all the fucking stuff, and then it's like last minute scooped up by this social media campaign, which
Ana de Armas and Andrea Riseborough, which I think have delivered good performances, very good performances, but I'm just like, it blows me away. It blows me away. So yeah, that got me the most heartbroken. But CB's getting it for Best Animated Picture got me so happy because CB.
I'm just sad because The Decision to Leave has 0 nominations, not even one for Best International Feature. Come on.
The Academy's going back to not liking South Korean films again after
Parasite,
guess, which is
tragic.
Parasite was apparently the first South Korean movie to win Best International Film.
No, wait, Drive My Car was nominated for Best Picture.
But Parasite was the first one to win. I mean,
that's true.
And that was like, it's been years and it's crazy. Drive My Car happened. I don't know. I'm shocked because His Leave was amazing. Amazing movie. Sorry, Nathan. Where can they find you again?
Find me at _TimeBlazer where it's taking over my brain. I was in the shower and I was like, lighting passes shadows.
Something's in the way.
Like, how do I make it look good? It has to look good. I need investors. But yeah, excited about that. Otherwise, yeah, what am I doing? Nope, nothing. All right, well, that'll be it.
Great.
I'm so sorry. I have nothing. I watched The Last of Us. Apparently, not on Sundays. I need to.
Ryan Johnson's Poker Face comes out today. So I'll be watching that over the weekend.
Can I just say they dropped 4 episodes? Like, what happened to Murder of the Week? So I got to binge 4 episodes now.
All right, Murder of the Day.
Somehow I still have Peacock, so I should.
This is Peacock's fault. Stupid Peacock. I had to pay $5 for this shit and get ads like every 5 minutes. Whatever.
Damn. Better upgrade.
But I want to watch. Oh wait, Tar's dropping on Peacock tomorrow. I gotta watch Tar.
Tar's phenomenal.
That's also why I got Peacock. Anyway, sorry, I ruined the outro.
No, you're fine. With that being said, if you guys enjoyed this episode of our podcast, make sure you like button, subscribe, and already ring that bell so you don't miss other in-depth reviews of the Last of Us series, especially from 8-time game player Evan Harris. And that being said, hope you have a great day. Catch you guys next time.
Bye.